What you want to do when you're in there is find a bigger girl. Convince them that you're in love. If they fall in love, easy manipulate. I don't know what the hell they're thinking. This is probably going to get me banned. My dad was our youth pastor. We went to church 3 days a week. We had a Thursday service, a Wednesday service, and a Sunday service.
Seems excessive.
It was super excessive. Yeah. We were taught that if you swear you go to hell, you burn an entire sin. The very extreme religion. So we were educated to believe that if you step out of line, you're going to burn in hell.
Right.
And so throughout the years, my dad, sober, doing good, he started drinking again. And very quickly, my mom did not like that. She said, if you keep drinking, I'm going to leave. And he said, then get out. And so the next day, he had a new girl over. I think we were, I was like 11 or 12 at the time. No, I was 13.
Did your mom leave or the new girl?
No, my mom was staying downstairs. So then the new girl, my dad knew her from a cage fighting gym. They were both cage fighters.
It's very pastoral, you know?
It was, it happened the next, it wasn't even like a week later. It was the next night. The next day we were waking up to this lady.
Jennifer's here.
Yeah. She's now moving in. So my mom freaked out, was like, F this, I'm out of here. Packed up her stuff, moved out because she was like, this is crazy. Throughout the time of that happening, my dad let us do whatever we wanted. He caught me stealing his bud and he was like, hey man, just don't steal too much of it. Like if you want to smoke it every once in a while, that's fine. Just don't get crazy. My dad ended up building his dream house. When I was way younger, we lived in Star. We dirt biked up in the foothills. So we're sitting on a plot of land and my dad tells me I'm going to build a house here one day. 8 years later, he ends up building a house on that plot of land. He designed it himself. It's 3,500 square foot. And so that's where we lived. It was his dream home.
And he
owned an alarm company.
I was going to say, this is from alarms?
Yeah, so he was super successful. While we were living in Star in the beginning, before he got back into drugs, he owned a very successful alarm company. So he was able to build that up. And we went to Hawaii every year on vacation. We were very spoiled. So the change from the spoiled life to the drug addiction life, it happened quickly. Right. And he ended up losing everything. But so as he's running the business, builds the house. So then we're partying at the house. It's 3,800, 3,500 square foot. He lets me do whatever I want. All the kids from high school are coming over. So I'm selling, and we sort of start to escalate things. At this point, my sister's boyfriend's coming down selling stuff. He ends up getting wanted out of Twin Falls. They post 2 $100,000 warrants out for his arrest. My dad buys him a plane ticket out of Boise straight to California. So he gets out. He's now on the run from Idaho, living in California, and he introduces us to his buddy down there who grows bud. So my dad and I are like, well, let's go down to California and start picking up bud. At this point, I'm 13, maybe 14, don't have a license. And so we're renting cars, and now we're renting these cars and driving down to California. And we'd only pick up 10, 15 pounds, and not that often, every couple weeks. And we'd come back, sell it, whatever. And as we're doing this, things are slowly evolving into more addictions. I got into the uppers.
Oh, okay.
Crystal, not so. At this point, I didn't really start getting into crystal until I was about 14. And so at this stage, it was like pills. At this time, the oxy epidemic was going on.
Right.
So of course that was big in the household. My dad loved that. He loved he was an addict to anything. So if the drugs were around, he would do them. Right. But I was more into Adderall. I had a prescription of Adderall, so I could do legal amphetamines, and I didn't have to worry about getting in trouble. So then as this slowly progresses, we're heading down to California. We're coming back, and I think at one of these trips, I picked up a giant bag of trim. And the guy sold it to me for like $50. So all it was the trim off the bud. I drive back to Idaho with it, and I was going to make hash. So you can take it then, make hash, concentrate it, and multiply your money.
Okay.
Well, someone had taken a bunch of it and turned it into edibles. They brought them back to us. I ate some, was falling asleep. And I had a buddy message me. He says that his dad sells white powder, and he's going to come over. And I was like, yeah, bring it over, man. I'll do that, whatever. So he comes over, and he had a crystal in a bag. And I'd never seen crystal. I'd never experienced anything like that. And so I was kind of curious. I was like, that's weird. And at that point, I didn't snort anything. So I was like, I'll smoke it.
Right.
So I broke a piece of this crystal off and I put it on a piece of tin foil and I lit it. And I was like, wow, I've never seen yayo do that.
Right.
It liquefied. And so I went to my dad and I was like, Dad, what is this? And he was like, you're smoking ice.
Right.
My buddy freaked out. Thought his dad had always sold yayo. His dad had been giving him these little crystals every once in a while saying, here's a little bit of,
right.
Go have a good night. Well, his dad was giving him crank.
Right.
So he freaked out, didn't want anything to do with it. My dad was like, I'll take it. And I was like, well, I already smoked it once, so might as well keep going. So my dad and I decided to
Of course.
get strung out that night. And so that was the first time I ever experienced crystal. And at that point, yeah, everything kind of changed. Life went downhill very rapidly. My dad at this time was also a raging alcoholic. So
Right.
He was a very abusive drunk. There's a lot of stuff I'm probably skipping over. He couldn't handle substances very well. So,
But he's still managing to run this
yeah,
business.
he's somehow still managing to run it. So he would go to work all day, come home, drink a fifth of tequila, a 24-pack of Corona, do a bunch of dope, and then become excessively violent.
Right.
And at this time, that girl that she's now passed away, her name was Erin. She moved in with us full time. She was also a cage fighter. So these two would get drunk and then beat the living crap out of each other. Like, I mean, at 12, 13, it'd be me and all my buddies surrounding it. And it was like a real legitimate cage fight. These two are drunk at this point, full domestic, beating each other.
What does this chick look like?
Oh, a straight cage fighter. She was a beast. She would put on gloves and fight my homies, my buddies, and beat the crap out of them. Like, she was a monster.
What does your dad look like?
Oh, we can show you pictures. He was a monster. He was a beast too. She ends up dragging him by a car later on, and that's why they split up. Almost killed him. So I can show you pictures of that too. You can see his skull for 9 months. Yeah, it was crazy. You used to be able to poke it. We'll get into that. So I'm skipping over a lot.
Okay.
So they're together. They're fighting, beating the crap out of each other. She hates me. Me and her beefed a lot. I was the worthless piece of crap son that just lived at the house. I was 14 years old. She used to be like, you're living off your father. You need to get out of here. And I'm like,
14.
I'm like, what am I supposed to do? What do you mean? So me and her fought a lot. And so as we're selling weed, we decide that it's a good idea to start growing bud in the house. Idaho's very strict on bud. And so we decide we're going to start growing bud. He gets plants from Oregon. His buddy brings them over. We plant them in our crawl space. My dad, when he built this house, built it with I want to say it was a 12-foot crawl space, 8-foot crawl space. Right. So you had to have a ladder to get down in there. He claims
it was on the side of a mountain, right? Isn't it?
Yeah, it was on the side of a hill.
Yeah.
And we had a sunken base, daylight basement. But he claimed the crawl space was always there so that he could grow one day.
Okay.
And so he did. And we start growing bud in the crawl space. He puts like 10 plants. And at this point, we're a mess. We're doing drugs, all sorts of drugs. We're doing whatever we can do. He's drinking. His girlfriend and him are fighting every night. And she ends up finding it. Somehow, he was down in the crawl. He was down in the crawl space with the lights on. And she saw the lights, went down there drunk, bleached everything, poured bleach on everything, freaks out, kills everything. So we're like, all right, we can't keep doing that. She threatens to call the cops. You guys aren't going to be growing that in here. It's illegal. She knew everything else we were doing, but that's where it went too far, was the growing of it. So we schemed another plan that the crawl space hatch in my room would become the access point to get in the crawl space. And we'd shut that crawl space hatch in the master closet so she would never know we were growing. So we did that and actually got away with it from her for a couple months until she dragged him by the car and moved out. And I can tell that story real quick. Him were drinking at a house, heavy drinking. Mm-hmm. He was hitting on a girl there. She was like, we got to go home. They jump in the car. And when my dad was drunk, he liked to do this thing called hydroplaning. And he would hang onto a car door and slide his feet as you're driving. He thought it was fun and exciting. He's doing that. She's swerving back and forth. He wraps around the car door. She takes a corner too fast and throws him off while his foot is pinned in between the car and the car door. So then he was sliding by his hands. It shaved his hands down to, just gnarly blisters. Then he went to his arms. So his arms got shaved down. I mean, road rash just. And then he gave up and went to his head, and it shaved his head down to his skull. So she freaks out, stops, lets his foot out, realizes she messed up. They go home. He passes out, has to go to the hospital. He ends up being in the hospital for like a week. Almost died. She comes to the hospital, says, the whole 2 years we've been together, I've been cheating on you. So he's like, you need to get out before I get up. So that was the last time they were together. So then...
I mean, I just shaved half your body off. I've got you in the fucking hospital. I dragged you with the car. I've almost killed you. I'm gonna go ahead and throw the fact that I've been nailing some other dude for 2 years, and I'm leaving you.
The girl's dead, so she died. We don't know what from. My wife and I recently searched it and found out that she'd passed away. We think from alcoholism, and it would make sense. She would pour a glass of vodka and then just splash juice in there.
Right.
And that was her drink. And we were like, I don't have Wi-Fi. I'll have to find these photos and show you. But yeah, so for 9 months, he ends up, the hospital's like, hey, it's going to cost $250,000 for plastic surgery. We have to put a tube in your head and pump it up slowly.
Stretch your hair.
To stretch the skin, stretch the hair. It's never going to grow back. He says, F you guys, I'm checking myself out of the hospital. It'll heal. And they were like, dude, you're going to, so the risk of bone infection at the time was very high because now your skull is open. So they gave us like a bin of antiseptic stuff and cleaners. And so every night,
spray this on your
that's literally what it was. That's what it was.
Like you're watering a plant.
Yeah,
like,
to make sure that it doesn't get infected. And so at the time I had a buddy living with us that just so happened his dad, at one point, his stepdad owned a doctor's office or something. So he had zero medical experience. I mean, he was a 16-year-old kid.
Right.
He'd just been around a doctor's office. So
like
we were like, you're now our doctor.
Spicoli said, my dad's a TV repairman. He's got an excellent set of tools. I can fix it, you know.
Well, and so that was, it did work out. So it ended up growing back.
Okay.
It did grow back. But for about 9 months, it did not. So for 9 months, he used to be able to poke his skull. And he would get drunk and he would have people poke his skull. And he said he could feel it in his molars. So you'd poke his skull and he'd feel it like tickle his molars, his back molars.
Vibration from could you imagine?
Oh, it was gnarly. I could, yeah. And so it got out of hand though, because as the drinking and drug use, more and more people would want to poke it. And then he would try to get people to engrave their initials into it. And that's where I was like, this is where we got to stop this. He would fall over and hit it and just start gushing blood everywhere. So then me and my buddy Tanner would have to pick him up and take him to the room and clean it. And it was a mess. And it was like that for, 9 months. You could see his skull. And it started getting fuzzy. And at that point, I was like, you're going to die because there's something weird growing on it. And slowly it just healed and skin grew back. And now he looks fine-ish.
He's got his comb his hair that way.
Yeah,
got a comb over.
So for a long time, he would wear beanies.
Okay.
Because it looks like a giant burn scar.
Right.
And so that girlfriend moved out. That all went down. He's back home now. He's healing. I have some girls over one night. This is years in the future. A lot has gone down during this time frame. We're now growing bud in the crawl space. Still going down to California to pick it up. He, during this time, has picked up, acquired many DUIs. He just could not stop drinking and driving. So by his 4th DUI, they finally put him on house arrest. We have to go down to California. So he gets the great idea that he's going to rent a Tahoe. And me, my sister, one of his employees, and his girlfriend are going to take it down to California to pick up. It ended up working out perfectly fine. We go down to California. Have a great time, pick up 10, 15 pounds of bud, come back. And at this whole time, he's still on house arrest. He's the luckiest man when it comes time to charges. Multiple incarcerations, younger, now done good, gets a DUI, blows way over. They let him off with a warning, misdemeanor. Gets another DUI, like a year later, misdemeanor warning, another DUI, felony. Nothing. At that point, I think they put him on probation. Another felony DUI. And then they finally gave him house arrest. And so we're like 4 DUIs in a matter of 5 years. They finally put him on house arrest. We're still trafficking.
In Florida, by that second one, you're already doing jail time.
Really?
By the third one, you're getting like a year. By the first one, I think you'll lose your license for a year, and then you can get a hardship license. Then the next one, you're doing like 30 days in jail. By the third one, you're getting like a year. I think that's what it is. You get like a year in jail.
And usually Idaho is really strict too.
Because it's a very simple breakdown.
And he somehow was able to manipulate the system to be like, I'm a business owner. I have 2 kids. I'm raising my family. I own a business.
I happen to have a couple of extra drinks. I
slip up, go out drinking, and they're like, oh, yeah, it makes perfect sense. He should have gone to prison, but they gave him house arrest.
Right.
And the whole time he's on house arrest, he was, doing, during this time was the oxy epidemic.
Right.
So he's at home just getting high the entire time on house arrest. No punishment, there's no consequences to it. So then we come back. We go on with the growing. So I ended up bringing some girls over one night, and one of the girls was 18 years old. His girlfriend had moved out at this point because she dragged him by the car and was cheating on him. So he ends up meeting one of these 18-year-old girls. Her name was Katie. And
how old was she? How old was he?
Who at this time, late 40s? She was a year in between my sister and I. So my sister and I are 2 years apart. She was in between us.
Okay.
And at this point, before she was 20, when she first came over, she was 18. No, she was. She left the next day.
It's not hard. Trust me, it's difficult to pull that off in your 50s. I mean, you got to give him.
The one thing my dad had going for him was he was in really good shape and a good-looking guy.
Yeah.
Until he started using drugs heavily again. And now he looks, just weathered and beat up. But before then, great-looking guy, super good shape. He went to the MMA gym, was a cage fighter. So girls were like, oh, every girl I brought over when I was a kid was like, oh, your dad's so hot. So it got so annoying. No, so then she leaves the next day. She stayed the night with him. She stays the night in his bed, leaves the next day, moves in. Her mom kicked her out. So now we have this girl moving in who's 18, 19. We're partying all the time. And I can get into some of the stories about the parties. My dad at this point doesn't care that we're doing illegal things. He just wanted the attention, wanted to be the cool guy. So now it's parties every weekend. Now all these 19, 20-year-olds are coming over, but we're still trying to do illegal thing. We're selling, we're trying to grow. And it just gets out of hand. At one point we had 200 plus people party at our house. Cops got called. They smelt that there was bud at the house, but we played it off that we'd been smoking. The issue with growing that much, we had at one point, I think there was only 20-something bud plants.
Right.
But it stunk. When you're growing bud in a house, every year clothes stink. You don't notice it as...
It permeates everything.
Yeah, and you don't notice it when you're living there because you live in it. But when someone walks into the house, they can smell it. And so one night we have a huge party. My dad had a party for this 18-year-old girl. She was just turning 18. So there's 300 plus people at our house. He does mushrooms. He freaks out. I show up and was like, this is not good. We have illegal stuff going on here. And he's like, you have to get everyone out of the house. He's like, I don't know what to do. I'm on mushrooms. I'm tripping out. And so I started yelling cops. Everyone screams, freaks out, runs. They're jumping out. He jumps off the back deck. He runs into the foothills.
You say, Dad, there are no cops.
Yeah, so the house clears out. Well, someone had left. We lived on a private drive. There was only 1, 2, 3, 4 houses. And they were all, custom homes. Mm-hmm. Someone left, went into the neighbor's yard, spun donuts, hit a rock, and left their bumper there. And then left their bumper with their license plate. So after everything calms down, like an hour later, my dad shows back up. He's been running through the foothills. He comes back, all cut up. He's like, what the hell's going on, man? I was like, the cops never were coming. You told me to get everyone out of here. What the heck are you thinking? So that night, there's still some people there. I end up going to mess with at this point, I'm not sleeping throughout the nights. So I'm heavy into drug addiction.
Right.
So I end up messing with our grow op down in our basement, and like 8 o'clock in the morning comes.
You probably drink the same coffee every morning. It's fine. But what if there was something better? Trade Coffee helps you find coffee that's fresh, tastes great, and is made just for you. You take a quick quiz, and they match you with coffee you'll love. It's sent straight to your door, super fresh, from small roasters all over the country. They have over 400 amazing roasts. Whether you're new to coffee or know your favorites, they'll handpick the perfect coffee just for you. And if that first bag isn't quite right, Trade will replace it for free until they nail it. The price is on par with grocery brands, but the quality is next level. Plus, you're supporting local roasters, so it's a win-win. Trade subscription is flexible, so you can pause or shift deliveries while you're away. Once you try it, you won't ever want to go back to your old coffee. Right now, Trade is exclusively offering our listeners 50% off your 1-month trial at drinktrade.com/Matthew. That's drinktrade, TRADE.com/Matthew for 50% off your 1-month trial.
Doorbell rings, and it's Ada County Sheriff's Department. They're at our front door, and we have an intercom system. So my dad answers it. He's like, "Hello, how can I help you?" Ada County Sheriff's, we're at your front door. He goes and answers it, and he lets him in. And it's like 3 cops.
Do they have a warrant?
No. The neighbor had called the cops because
the donuts.
Yeah, and there's the license plate. Well, the cops, just lets him in the front door. Right away, they're like, "Oh, we smell the substance. We can smell that it smells like bud in your house." "Oh, my son had a party last night. I came back from the bars. They were smoking a joint. I freaked out and kicked everyone out." And I'm sitting there, I'm like, that's not what happened. It's the exact opposite. My dad had the party, but whatever. I'm not going to tell the cops that. So I'm mad sitting there. They end up searching us all because they know that there's bud at the house. So they try to pat us all down. My dad lets them. I'm underage. A lot of the kids are underage. So he lets these cops pat us all down. None of us have anything on us. They leave. I think it was at that point they started investigating.
Right.
Because now officers have been in the house. They smell. And there's a different smell between the burnt and someone had smoked it and someone is
growing it.
Yeah, it's fresh. So my dad let his little girlfriends move in the house. They're 18, 19-year-old girls. And he decides that if they're living in the house, they need to know what we're doing. So he decides to have a little group meeting and tell them all, "You guys need to come to our crawl space. We're going to show you guys that we are growing." And I'm like, "Dad, this is not a good idea.
Right.
The least amount of people should know this." And at this point, I'm like 16. So then he tells everyone, I was almost 17. And I'm like, this is just bad. I just know this is going to end badly. Because now you're involving a bunch of kids that are going to go tell people.
Because they think it's cool. They're going to tell their friends, and their friends are going to tell people. Before you know it, there's somebody's telling the police or their parents. And parents are calling the cops.
And what happens is one of the girls living with us gets pulled over down the street. A detective, I forgot his name, he pulls her out and says, "Hey, we want to speak to you about what's going on at that house." She comes home crying. "Ran, detectives want to speak to me." My dad, she did have a socket inside a water bottle. So they found like a steamroller. So you put a socket for like a tool socket inside a water bottle and you can smoke weed or bud out of it. It's really ghetto pipe.
Okay.
They find that. They say, "We're going to take your FAFSA money, your school funding. If you get a paraphernalia charge, you'll lose your school funding."
Okay.
So she comes back crying. They found this pipe. And my dad says, "Well, you should go talk to him." And I'm like, this is a bad idea. And he's like, "Just go talk to them and tell them you don't know anything that's going on at the house."
Her or you?
Her. He's like,
Yeah, she's going to hold up under pressure.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. She's definitely not going to say She told him everything. And so when you went into our crawl space, you would never know that anything was going on. So it was a very big crawl space. You would drop down. It's pitch black. You would have to walk all the way down, like 30 feet down, go behind a wall, come up to a door. And it was a wall of insulation. So you would never see that behind that wall of insulation, there's a whole room and everything going on. And that was the whole theory, that if we ever got raided, they would never be able to find it.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, okay. That didn't happen. And so things started getting more and more suspicious as time went on. She goes and meets with them. She comes back. She's like, "Yeah, I didn't tell him anything, but I'm moving out."
Before they raid the
house. We're like, "What do you mean you're moving out all of a sudden?" She's like, "Yeah, it's time to pack up. I found a new place to rent." And he was charging her like $100 a month. So you're not going to find a better deal.
Right.
She packs up, moves out. A couple days later, trash day. My dad goes and wheels the trash can in. And he's like, "That's not our trash can." I'm like, "What do you mean it's not our trash can?" I remember this so vividly because I'm like, you freaking tweaker. Like, not our trash can. Like, you're just on drugs, dude. Like, you're tripping. And he's like, no, I know my trash can. I've been wheeling that trash can in for 8 years. I know the smell of it. I know the trash that's at the bottom of it. I know the spray paint marks that you've spray painted on it by accident.
So it really wasn't your trash can?
It wasn't. They took our trash and they swapped it with another trash can so that they could go through the trash and get a search warrant for our house.
Right.
And so at this point, everyone had cleared out of our house. No one's living there. I mean, things are just getting worse and worse because now we're using drugs more and more. And he kept saying, he's like, I know we're going to get raided. He's like, I know it's coming. And I'm like, well, let's get rid of everything.
Yeah, get rid of the plants.
Let's pick it. No, we got to wait. And I'm like, why? Like, what is the need? And he just wanted to keep waiting.
How many plants were there?
Only like 20 something.
Okay.
But then we had like 30 something seedlings. So,
okay.
But those they were clipped. So we had just started to, I can't think of the word, clone. And so we had a mother plant we were cloning off of. And so we had just started all these seedlings. And like 2 weeks later, we get raided.
Right.
And so I'm 17. He, at this point, multiple DUIs, doesn't have a license, leaves for work one morning, gets pulled over down the street. I was coming down off a runner, so I'd gone to bed. I'd been up for days, been doing, anything I get my hands on. And so I passed out in the living room. He goes to work to go do a job, gets pulled over down the street. Mr. Gruber, you don't have a license? They're like, he's like, no. And they're like, we actually have a search warrant for your house. So you can either come with us or you can go to Ada County Jail and we can deal with it there. And he says, well, take me to Ada County Jail. Here's the keys to the front door. Don't kick in the door. We have a Rottweiler. Don't shoot our dog. Just walk in and my son's asleep. And so his girlfriend had just gotten out of the bath. She was listening to Taylor Swift. She went into the living room or in the kitchen to make toast. And our alarm chimed. Dogs barking. Alarm chimes. We had an alarm system on the house. Mm-hmm. They entered through the garage door into the garage first. So that door chimed, letting us know that someone was coming in. She was curious, started walking towards the garage door. They kick it in. Guns drawn. She screams, wakes me up. I'm freaking out because she's screaming bloody murder because there's now guys with guns pointed at her. And so then all I see is the tip of a barrel sticking around the corner. So I jump up. I run to my dad's bedroom screaming for him. He's not in there. So I see her phone playing Taylor Swift. I pick it up. I walk out. And I just have this phone in my hand, just Taylor Swift on full blast. And I'm like, this is so stupid. And these cops at this point, they're screaming at me, put the phone on the ground, get on the ground. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. They tackle me, gun to the head, knee to the back of the neck. Cuff me up, pull me out.
What Taylor Swift song was playing?
Oh, I don't remember which one. All I remember was how could that be playing right now? It's the most girly. It was she was singing away, and I was like, this sucks. Because I know the cops are like, you idiot kid. And at this time, I was maybe 90 pounds. I used to be very little. I mean, when I was on drugs, I think when I got arrested, I was 95 pounds. And like 5'5".
As opposed to the 150 pounds.
Yeah, 165. Yeah. It's a huge difference, though. Especially when you're on drugs, you're just tiny. So I have no clue what's going on. They pull me out. I mean, our whole street's lined with cops. I mean, of course, at this point, I realized, all right, we're screwed. Oh, Mr. Gruber, they asked me, do you know that you're growing bud in the house? I said, no, there's 2 plants in my closet downstairs, and that's it. Because I had 2 little plants. So I was like, maybe
my dad's doing something.
So I didn't know.
Whose house is this? Not my house.
So I didn't know at this time my dad's in Ada County Jail saying, oh, my son must be growing bud. Because they're like, hey, we know.
He's a bad kid.
So I wish I could have his discovery. You could read that. That is the most gruesome discovery you could read of a father just being like, oh, it's my son. There's no way I do that. I mean, and they're like,
I'm an alcoholic. I think my record establishes that.
That was his logic. And he would tell him, I drink a 5th of tequila every night. I have no clue what's going on at that house. What do you mean there's at the time they were trying to say there's 52 bud plants.
I've been in the basement many times. I've never seen any plant. Are you sure?
He said,
I work behind the wall. There's something behind the wall?
He said, I come home, I work all day, I come home drunk. I come home, get hammered, and go to bed, and I don't deal with it until the next day. If you read the discovery, you'd be horrified that I mean,
I'm actually impressed. He came up with a reasonable defense. I'm disappointed in your defense. I can already tell. You immediately say, "Well, there's 2 plants. I don't know what else is going on." To me, I'd be like, "I don't know," but my dad is in the basement a lot. He's always in the crawl space. I think you guys should look down there.
So in my logic, in my brain, is they weren't gonna find the rest of it because the wall.
His girlfriend and her friends has spent a significant amount of time
they
in the
love
crawl
going
space.
down there.
I don't know what's up with that. The house smells funny. I know that, officer. I mean, for God's sakes.
There was a lot of things I could have said,
They
but
did
I
give me
thought
these funny little plants the other day in my room.
I thought my dad would also be like,
I'll take one for the team.
Yeah.
No, he's not going to do that. I already feel like I have a pretty good handle on your dad situation.
oh yeah, he's a great guy. Yeah, he's a great guy. And so, yeah, hindsight 2020, I should have been like, I mean, I didn't get in any trouble for this. I was a minor. So they released me to my mom. A couple hours later, 10 minutes later, sorry, snap, they pull out all the plants. It wasn't even, the cop laughed at me, was like, "Oh, do you think that's it?" And I'm like, "Yeah, dude, what are you talking about?" And then 2 minutes later, everything, the whole front yard, and our front yard was dirt. We lived in this house for 10 years. My dad never did a yard. So it was dirt and sagebrush.
Right.
It was weird. And so they pull all these plants out. All our neighbors are watching. And I'm like, wow, this is not good. This is, we're screwed. So they call my mom. They have to release me and his girlfriend to my mom. I don't know why.
His girlfriend.
Yeah, that was, she didn't have a...
Picking up the 19-year-old
She
girlfriend or whatever. It's like...
Oh, she was mad. My mom was screaming in that car. Yeah, she ended up... Yeah, she stayed with him while he was in prison, too. Yeah. She ride or die, for a while with him. She had his back. So they are like, "Hey, here's his keys. You got to go pick up his car. He's going to jail."
Right.
My mom comes and gets me and her, and she's screaming in the car at her and I. Very awkward car ride to the car. Go get his car, go back to the house, and they destroyed everything. The cops don't care when they raid. They will cut cushions, and they found stuff that I hid as a kid. I think it was like a couple years before that. I hid some pipes in the house and could never find them because I was on drugs. And they found...
You know what I'm thinking? Like a Hulk action figure they found.
No.
My favorite Hulk action figure.
I was past toys by this point. There was no...
They found my Star Wars toys.
Yeah,
my X-Wing fighter. I've been looking for years.
They found my paraphernalia, stuff like that. And I was amazed. I was like, wow, I looked for that for years, man. You guys are pretty good. They left some bud, and so I was able to smoke that. And so, they destroyed everything. They spit sunflowers. They have zero, and I get it. I get where they're coming from. They don't care. But at the same time, I feel like you should have some respect when you're in someone's house. And
they're not liable for any of that damage. Like any damage that they create as a result of...
It's on you.
Conducting a search is completely on. So they cut up your pillows, they kick in your door. You're like, "Well, hey, who's going to pay for that?" You.
Yeah,
we have a search warrant. We're searching the house, but you could have just unzipped this. You could have just
opened the door. It was unlocked.
We're not here to make your life more comfortable.
Yeah.
We're here to cause you.
We're here to find stuff and move on.
Yeah.
And they spit sunflower seeds everywhere. They locked our Rottweiler in the house, who was not an inside dog. So she had a heyday. Because then they dump the trash out everywhere. Right. So she's now locked in with a buffet.
Yeah.
So we showed up, cleaned the house. He's in jail. I want to say $250,000 bond. And we ended up being able to pay it. Got him out that night. Had no clue what was going on. So we just
Who paid that? How do you? That's $25,000.
Yeah, I think we were able to pay $10,000. And a co-signer.
Okay.
And I think his ex, Aaron, had a co-sign. The cage fighter chick ended up having to be like, it was weird. We had to bring...
She's still involved. How's she still
she ended up... She was...
He's banging her still?
She was involved.
And the 18-year-old or 19-year-old? What did we decide? How old is she? Whatever.
19? Way too young to be
nailing a 50-year-old man.
Yeah, it was just weird. And she would hit on my friend. She was... Any girl he brought around had a thing for my friends, either trying to fight him or screw him. So she would try to do that. But the cage fighter one, he ended up going like a year or two after the incident where he dragged her by a car. He went to her house drunk and ended up knocking her out. And they were play fighting.
She had it coming. Let's be honest.
So they were play fighting. and drinking, and there was a bunch of people there. And he was like, she just stepped into it. She stepped into the punch. And I was like, I don't think that's what happened. Our buddy was there, was like, that's not what happened.
She was trying to, she had a permanent marker. She was trying to write her name on my skull.
Yeah.
And I clocked her.
She was like, But after that point, they quit.
I did this.
It was horrible. They should not have been together.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she later passed away because of alcoholism. So the raid happens. We keep doing drugs. It doesn't slow anything down.
All right.
He thinks he's going to get away. I didn't know that he's trying to pin it all on me this whole time. So then we get the discovery. It was either me or aliens.
It's horrible, bro.
It was either me or aliens. This is where it gets
that.
Is anybody from the church ever reaching back?
No.
What about his sheep? What about his followers?
The funny part is, at one point, the kids from I'm using drugs. I used to have the kids that he was the youth pastor for over to the house, and we'd party. And when they first started coming over, he would hide. So
hello, Pastor Johns. No.
So he
would
would
around.
We would be in the house partying, and he would be out in the garage, and then we would go out to the garage, and he'd come inside. And he did this forever. And I was like, Dad, what is going on? And he's like, I can't do this. I can't. He's like, it's just so weird. He's like, I watch these kids grow up, and now they're doing drugs at my house. And I'm like, yeah, well, just accept it and let's move on, dude. Like, you're just being weird. And then he was like, all right, yeah. And so then he used to just party with us. And yeah, he would try every once in a while. He still tries. He's still religious. So he'll still post on Facebook and stuff, be like, the Lord.
God quotes.
Yeah, and he's still shooting up drugs. And I'm like, I think you're misconstrued in life there, buddy. So we finally get the discovery. And my buddy Tanner and I are sitting there drinking one night reading it. And the first thing he says is, the first thing the cops say is, you know what's going on at the house? No, I don't. Well, yeah, you do. There's 52 bud plants in your crawl space.
Are you suggesting that my son is growing marijuana?
That's exactly what he says. I think you need to speak to my son about this. I think he's up to something. And I'm sitting there reading this like, what the heck is going on? So then we keep reading. And it's just every point they're like, I mean, the detectives are like, Rand, do you think that for 1 second we are going to believe that your 17-year-old son has this elaborate grow up in your crawl space and you have zero clue what's going on? Well, yeah, because that's what's happening. They're like, so at one point they said, so aliens have to be growing it. Because there's no way your son's doing it. The aliens have to be, but it's got to be aliens.
He's an entrepreneur.
He will go with
very industrious.
He would go with whatever, just not to admit that it was him. And so as we're reading this, I'm like, Dad, come here. I'm like, what the heck is going on here, dude? Oh, they're lying. He's like, that's not really. That's all lies.
They took that out of context.
Yeah,
that's not exactly how that went down.
And so he's still his attorney at this. I mean, it gets brutal. He has a paid attorney. He's paid attorney. He's like, Rand, you can't do this. Like, even you trying to do this, the detectives know it's not true, but they will charge your son. Like, if this is the route you want to go down, if you keep saying it's your son's,
right?
I mean, there's going to be multiple charges. So he finally admits to it. His attorney was like, you can't do this to your son. Like, this is messed up. So he admits to it. He gets sentenced to he went to prison. And he just messed up on his rider?
What's
so in Idaho, do you guys have riders down here, rider programs? So
I don't know that much about the state prison system, but I've never heard that term, so I don't know what that means.
So it's like a 3 to 6 to 9 month program. They can sentence you to anywhere from 3 to 6 to 9 months,
right.
And it's like a drug rehabilitation, or they have a violent offender one. And so instead of going to prison, you go do this 3, 6, 9 month rider. Then you go back in front of your judge, and he can decide.
Are you incarcerated during this time?
So you're in prison.
So that's prison. That's 6 months.
Nah.
Right.
And because you don't go in front of the parole board when you get done, you go back in front of your judge, and then your judge has the authority to let you go out on probation or to go back to prison.
So it depends on whoever running that program kind of tells the judge like he did a good job
or he did a bad job.
Yeah. Your Honor.
I ended up later going on a rider.
Okay.
And I can explain that. It's a horrible program. I mean, it's not a horrible program if you want to do good and change your life. If you don't want to do good, then it's a horrible program. It's like boot camp.
Right.
So, I mean, it's very like boot camp. I don't know anything about that. But so he ends up going to prison. Now he leaves me with this 3,800 square foot house, 3,500, I don't know. And he just takes off. I mean, he's in prison. I don't know what to do because now I'm living in this house. It's going through foreclosure at this point. So we've lost everything. He sold his business, sold that, should have sold the house, didn't let the bank take it. So now it's going through foreclosure. I'm still living there. I'm squatting now. He gets sentenced. He's gone.
What year is this?
2012.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I
How
mean,
old are you?
17.
No.
Right now, 30. I'm 30.
You
What?
look like a child.
Yeah.
bro.
How old did you get? Not 30, huh?
You could say you were 22 years old.
So imagine now, imagine me at 18 when I go to prison.
You look like one of those little baby videos.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I was thinking we could turn him into one of the little baby videos, but
remember-
I don't think there'd be a difference other than the beard would be gone.
I could shave it. When I shave this, I keep it now because it's like, if I shave this, it's bad. It looks like a child. And so the PREA, you remember in prison, the PREA, Prison Rape Elimination Act?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
So
video
when I
you have
get
to
there,
watch,
it was
yeah.
the biggest joke because I look like, I look
They're
like,
like, oh,
yeah.
have
Everyone
some
loved
problems.
it. I would walk on the tier, Vaselina. The stupidest crap. All a joke, of course. It ended up, yeah. So he goes to prison. I'm 17.
Anybody offer to buy your tennis shoes?
No. But they did say don't accept the candy bar. I always
Yeah,
get
yeah.
you guys talking about it, and that is funny because there's a whole video about don't accept the payday.
Yeah.
As soon as you get to prison,
Candy on your bed?
as a joke, yeah, it beats.
I've had that happen.
Yeah,
I've had that happen.
your buddies would do it as
Yeah,
a
yeah.
joke, and like,
I was a GED tutor one time, and this black guy that would come in, it was actually the SLD program for GED, so it was for the slow guys.
Okay.
And this guy would walk in every once in a while with a Snickers bar, and he'd go, "Hey Cox," he'd put it on the thing and like that, and I go, "That's funny." All
Real
right,
good,
all right.
huh?
And he'd walk over. He'd do it every couple of days. So one day he did it, and this is after now I've been doing this for 3 months. I know the guy now. So he walks in, and I grab it, and I peel it, and I take a bite of it. He goes, "What the hell, bro? What the fuck? Cox, what are you doing?" And I was like, "Well, you just gave it. You put it on my thing." He's like, "Come on, I'm just playing. That's my Snickers bar."
He probably did that joke with a bunch of people.
Yeah, yeah.
And finally
Yeah, like-
someone ate it, and he's like, my joke's over.
Yeah, it's over. Yeah.
I had a buddy that would do that same thing, and finally one day I was like, I'm eating the freaking candy bar,
Yeah.
man. Like, if you're gonna put it on my pillow enough and you think it's funny, I want to eat it. So he goes to prison. I have a buddy move in with me, and at this point, on and off drug use, buddy moves in with me. He has his girlfriend or his sister come over one night. I meet sister's boyfriend, who is a drug addict, big into crystal, big into selling it. So my dad's in prison. House is going through foreclosure. Dude sees this house and he's like, "It's a nice house. Can I live here?" And I was like, "Yeah, pay me $800 a month. I'll rent you out the downstairs. I mean, you got to make money." I tell him my dad's in prison. He doesn't know the house is being foreclosed on.
Yeah.
So he moves in the downstairs, and now we're selling drugs out of the house again. Back to it. He's going down to California to pick up, coming back. One of the trips he goes down to California to pick up, he's picking up bud, crystal, just a bunch of things. This guy had just done 5 years in prison for trafficking from California to Idaho. Just topped out the 5 years. I think it's a great idea for him to move in with me. Sounds reasonable.
Yeah.
So he goes back to doing it. He gets hit by a semi on one of his trips back. He had a flat tire in his Cadillac, pulls over. A semi ran over the corner of his Cadillac, just demolishes it. Puts him in the hospital. Police come, show up. The semi left. So the police show up, find this dude with a bunch of duffel bags on the side of the road, beat up in his car. They take him to the hospital, drop him off. He calls me. He's like, "Dude, I don't know how the cops thought they just dropped me off at the hospital with, duffel bags of drugs."
They left the drugs
With him. Yeah, they picked up him and his suitcases
and okay.
and took him to the hospital because his forehead split open. And I'm like, there's no way. This is suspicious. I think it's a setup.
Yeah.
So I'm in Boise at Homestar. He's in like Pocatello. It's the 3-hour drive. He's like, "You guys need to come pick me up right now." So we jump in the car. We start heading up because we're like, this is insane. I end up getting a speeding ticket along the way. Don't have a license. Get a DWP and we switch drivers, but we end up picking him up, bringing him back. And he's like, I'm done doing that. I'm done driving to California. I'm going to start sending it here. I'm going to start mailing it. Do you have an address that I can mail stuff to?
The house that's going in foreclosure.
No.
Yeah.
No, because
Another
I'm
address.
like, that's a bad idea. House just got rated for growing.
Right.
We can't have it sent here. So I hit up my mom. And I'm like, hey, Mom, aren't you renting out a room at your friend's house? And she's like, yeah.
I have a friend that's importing toys.
So I said, yeah. I was like, can I have something mailed to your house?
I'm thinking you can't tell your mom I'm going to be mailing drugs.
I think, yeah, I might have told her it was Amazon or something. I don't remember. I said some crap. And so and that's not, no, what happened is the detective, it was supposed to be next day aired. Was not next day aired. 2 days later, it hasn't gotten there. And I'm like, that's weird. And he's like, oh, call FedEx. And I'm like, I don't know.
Every time I've ever talked to anybody who they suddenly, it just disappeared. And then 3 days later, it showed up and it was being tracked.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened.
It's totally safe though.
Yeah. They said that, they said the truck wasn't an accident or whatever.
So he tells me, I'll give you a teener, 1.75 grams of dope if you call FedEx and figure out where the hell our package is. So I'm like, all right, fine, dude. So I call FedEx. They're like, oh, we are going to have this other delivery driver reach out to you. Okay. Delivery driver reaches out. It's actually Detective Christensen with the Boise Police Department.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I got your package right here. I'm going to deliver it later.
But he says he's from like Amazon or something.
No, he says he's with FedEx. He's like,
okay, FedEx.
Yeah,
sorry.
he's like, I'm a FedEx delivery guy. I got your package. I'm going to deliver it later.
It's Detective.
Yeah, Detective Christensen. Not yet.
He says that when he's putting the handcuffs
on. Later on that day.
I understand.
No, I ran.
Okay.
Yeah, so he says he's going to deliver it. I'm like, I'm going to go pick it up. So I head that way, and I just had a bad feeling. I knew it was over. I knew that it had been busted. I mean, I knew by tracking it. I was like, this just tracking it seems off. Drive by my mom's house. It's full. I mean, the cul-de-sac's full of cops.
Right.
Peel out, leave, and I drive away. And my mom calls me. Alex, you going to come pick up your package? I'm like, nah, I can't make it today.
Well, it sounds like when they asked your mom, too, she said, I don't know, but this might know my son.
And it was his name on it.
Right.
You were there?
I was living with Mom.
Okay.
And she told me, she goes, when it was a DEA agent and he had the box and he goes, this is...
You shouldn't have these things sent in the mail as a specific wordage.
He goes,
and she threw it.
Is this package yours? And it reeked like weed.
They did not, so...
And she was like, I don't think that's from Amazon. Because that's what he said where it was coming from, was Amazon. And she goes, I don't think that is an Amazon package. And he goes, well, is it yours? Because it's addressed to your address.
Right. So the package from FedEx, or the package got there, your mother, the DEA showed up with the package, said, is this your package? She said, no, it's not my package. I know that something was being mailed here from Amazon. That doesn't look like an Amazon package.
And he was like, smell it.
Yeah, it reeks of marijuana. And she said, no, that's not mine. And so then your mom, she said, my son was having something mailed here. So they do? They had
her call me.
And say, hey, are you coming to get this
package? They were like, yeah, your package. She was like, your package is here. Yeah. And I was like, I can't make it today. I'm busy.
All right.
And at this point, I'm doing 100 miles an hour home.
Right.
Called the dude, was like, you effing idiot. Like, my mom's house is surrounded by cops.
Right.
And he's like, just come home. We'll figure it out. It's not that big of a deal. No one can be charged for it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, let's face it. Your mom didn't accept it. It was wasn't in your name.
And it wasn't in my name.
Somebody else's
but
name.
The issue is I called.
Yeah.
And I took ownership. So once you call and you give them your name for a package and say, here's the tracking number,
right.
They're like, well, that's your package then. Because now you're calling, you're giving us your name and being like, that's mine. I need to know where it is. And so that's where they're like,
I feel like I could get out of that. But
and I feel like I could have got, I mean,
like my lawyer could have been like, you don't.
I had a public defender. Yeah. And they were trying to charge, they were threatening to charge my mom. And so at first,
I'm going to put money on mom's books. Do the right thing, Mom.
There for a second, I was like, I think I could have held her down better than she held me down.
I was going to say, I feel for you, Mom. That's a fucked up situation.
Damn, Mom. Why would you even think about doing that?
I don't know what you were thinking between you and Dad. So I'm definitely going to end up in prison.
So
better to be a visitor than a fucking.
So at the point where I say, I can't make it, someone has to speak to you.
Yeah.
Hey, Alex, this is Detective Christensen with the Boise Police Department. We got a package here for you that seems suspicious. It smells like a certain substance. Well, that's not mine. I'm like, what are you talking about? Whose name's on it?
Right.
Well, it's a made up name. I'm like, no, it's not. Because I'm like, I'm not going to say whose it is, but I'm going to say, look at the name. Because I mean, you can see whose name it is, right? That's whose it is. No, it's not, because you were the one that called to give us the tracking number, to ask about the tracking information. It's now your package. Because your mom's saying it's yours, you were going to have something saying here. Well, I don't know. I didn't like that. So he's like, just come talk to me. I was like, no, it's not. I was like, if I come to you, you're going to arrest me. He's like, but if I have to find you, I'm going to arrest you.
No,
I was,
but I have a better chance that way.
I was like,
That's just some distance between us. And
that was my theories. All right, good luck. I was like, bye, click. I didn't know my mom was like 5799. Here's the address to the freaking house he's at.
Yeah.
Here's where he's at. Here's the other car he drives. So I get home. I park in the garage. That dude it was left. Mm-hmm. He's now dead too. A lot of the people in this story later on die.
Right.
He died.
Causes?
Yeah, from he OD'd on.
That's not a natural cause, by the way.
Oh, unnatural cause. I mean, it was naturally he did it. I mean,
it was natural for an addict.
Yeah, it's pretty natural causes when you're living that kind of life. So he left. And so I get there and I was like, hey, you told me to come back and we'd figure this out. He's like, yeah, I figured it out. That's not it's not my herb. And I'm like, well, what do you want me to do? What should I do? He said, take the charge. They'll go easy on you. You're, 18 years old. You're a kid. You've never been in trouble. You'll get out. And I'll put money on your books. He told me that. And I thought, damn, this is a good idea. I was like, you know what? Seems like a good dude. I was like, I thought I was just going to run until I got caught. Right. And it only lasted about 4 days. Because I wouldn't leave the house. So
some of us are better than others.
Yeah, I was not. This is the first time I ran. The first time. Right. Next time lasted a little bit longer. So about 4 days, didn't leave the house. I was scared. And then the fourth day, some girl hit me up, and I was like, I should leave the house.
Yeah.
It's totally worth it. No. So as soon as we left, my buddy, I was like, you're going to have to drive me. I don't have a license. He's like, yeah, it's totally fine. As soon as we get to the end of my street, there's a cop parked there. And I'm like, just turn around. It's a private drive. They can't drive onto it. In my mind, I'm like, it's a private drive. They're not going to be able to.
If I run in the house and close the door, they'll never be able to.
Yeah. His idea is I don't know what his theory was. I don't know. He just thought he wasn't going to get pulled over. So he kept going. And I was like, Tanner, please just turn around. And he's like, no, dude, we're fine. They're not here for you. They were there for me. As soon as we get through my neighborhood, pull me over, Mr. Gruber, step out of the vehicle. Detective Christensen wants to speak to you. I was like, it's well played, Detective Christensen. I mean, you got me. Take me to jail. And this is where I learned that cops are, they never really have your best interest.
It's weird.
Yeah.
It's weird because if you watch Law and Order, you feel like they're always looking out for you.
It's not even Law and Order. As you still believe that there's some justice. I mean, not even justice. There's some, I don't know.
Fair play?
Yeah, something good is going to come out of it. You know what I mean?
No.
He brought me to the county jail, says, we just want to know what happened. What was going on? If you tell us,
we'll let you go.
Yeah, it's going to be an easy night. Get out of here, you go to court. And I was like, all right, we had Bud set in the mail.
Right.
Okay, well, you're going to jail. What do you mean?
You just wanted to know.
Yeah. And once again, it's not mine, though. I was like, it's not, my name's not even on the package.
No.
It doesn't matter. You just admitted to sending drugs in the mail. I was like, yeah, but I didn't say it's not my. Yeah, no. Straight to MCU, max in Ada County Jail. Boom, booked in. I was like, wow, this is horrifying. And at this time, I'm 95 pounds.
Where's your dad?
He's in prison.
Still at the boot camp thing?
No, he's still doing a rider. He was on the farm. So in Idaho, we have the farm. We have the farm, the yard, ICC, and IMSI all next to each other, and the women's prison. So there's like 6 prisons all within a stone's throw of each other.
Right.
So he was at the farm doing his little rider. And then I get locked up. And that's what actually bit me in the butt, is that my dad was trafficking and we were cultivating bud at the house. And now his son, a couple months later, is trafficking into Idaho. So they were mad. They were very angry. $50,000 bond wasn't too crazy, but my mom can't afford it. So I sit in jail. Mm-hmm. Get sentenced to a rider. I want to say I got sentenced to a 6-month program up in Cottonwood, Idaho, which is, beautiful. One of the most beautiful prisons you can go to in Idaho. This is going to sound funny, but deer I mean, you're in the mountains. There's deer roaming. You see bear. It's a
It's
camp.
a spiritual retreat,
Yeah,
really,
yeah.
to be honest.
You can really connect with yourself
Yeah.
again. Didn't happen there. Didn't do that. I wish I would
Guards
have.
are wearing like monk robes and serving you tea. And
I wish. Two dudes actually, while I was in there, two dudes escaped from that prison while I was there, and they were about to. Stupid idiots. So this is the first time I learned about jail. MCU Ada County. 22, I want to say 22 or 20 hour lockdown at the time. So you're only out for 4 hours a day. 4-man cells.
Tifacelli?
Oh, yeah. You have 3 cellies.
Oh.
So it's 4-man cells. Yeah. Bunk beds. And you're locked up for 20 hours a day.
Mm.
So when you got to do something, I mean, pooping and pissing right in front of each other.
Yeah.
And I'm an
It's horrible.
18-year-old kid. I was like, what the hell? My
Is there a
cellie.
curtain or something?
Yeah, like, I mean, can I get some privacy here, man? Like, no. My cellie, super cool experience. I mean, not super cool. The older guy, so he was able to look out for me. He had seizures at the time. So the first time I get in the cell, he's like, hey, man, just so you know, I have seizures. If I ever have a seizure, shove a book in my mouth. And he tells everyone this when they first get in. And I'm like, okay, like, that's weird. One day he starts seizing out. And I think it was me. It was either me or one of the cellies shoved a book in his mouth.
Not the encyclopedia.
Just a big old
something smaller.
Well, and so they ended up having to take the book because he bled on it, and everyone was mad at us because we just lost a book. But and then the COs yelled at us for putting the book in his mouth because
You're not supposed to,
because they can choke on their own tongue.
Yeah, well, that's a myth. It's actually more damage is done trying to break these guys. You'll break you'll chip their teeth.
No, it's super aggressive. Like when you're trying to shove a book in a dude's mouth, that's seizing out.
But they actually never swallow their tongue. You can't swallow your tongue.
Well,
I hear what you're, I mean, I'm just saying. I've met. I knew a guy who had seizures, and he was like, "Bro, he had 2 or 3 chipped teeth." He's like, "These are because
shoving.
fucking people trying to shove shit in my mouth, trying to put a spoon in my fucking mouth and chip in my teeth." He's like, "That's a myth." He's like, "Just leave me alone."
That I see, and so but it's scary when someone's seizing out.
That's why I'm shocked he said that.
He was right away like shove a book in my mouth.
He's an
and when
old
he
guy,
stroked out, he was older. And when he seized out, not stroked out, he like back off the ground. Mm-hmm. I mean, full stiff. We were freaking out. Shove the book in, and there's a button in your cell. You're not supposed to push it ever. Push that button. Medical swarms. We get yelled at for shoving the book in the mouth. I was like, the dude told us to. I mean, what do you want me to do? But this was my first experience in Ada County Jail, and it was, I mean, drugs. I thought, okay, going to jail, sober up. My mom was hoping, son, go to jail, sober up.
Right.
It's not the case. They changed it a lot now. Now they have body x-rays coming into jail in Ada County, so it's the same as the airport. So any inmate coming in now gets a full body x-ray so that they cannot smuggle anything in. At the time, they didn't have that. So crystal, a lot of crystal, a lot of tar. I mean, it was just very prevalent. And so I started using drugs again, continue to use drugs. At one point...
You know what tar is?
Black tar? Yes, H. Sorry. Have you ever been in trouble?
Never.
No.
Listen, he had no idea.
Absolutely not. Yeah,
Listen, we were probably like 6 months or a year ago, we were talking, my wife and I met my wife in the halfway house, and she did like 5 years for a meth conspiracy. And we're talking, and Colby said, he was telling us a story of something and said, golly. And Jess and I both glanced at each other, and we just kept listening. I mean, later we were like, I'm like, he just said golly. And she's like, I know. He'll say stuff every once in a while. And listen, the first time, like first, what was the first person? Michael Dowd?
Mike Dowd, but then we had a guy that was just like a straight thug, like breaking in houses. And
I mean, these are the first few guys that are, I mean, he's sitting there listening.
And you're like, what?
Oh, dude, I literally know zero. Like,
and
anything.
I'm thinking the whole time, like, this guy has got to be questioning. He's got to be going home to his wife every night saying, listen, I don't know.
I don't know about this job anymore. I'm not feeling too safe in the workplace.
These are insane people.
Yeah.
Like,
and then about a year in, we moved here.
Yeah.
And Matt was going to have like a content house. Going to have a couple different people that had prison channels do this. And this is, I had there's like a kid right out of high school that wanted to learn. So I was like, okay, you can help me film on days that I can't. So this is the first day I brought him here. He's 18 years old. I'm assuming he's kind of like me. Like, you know, he's doesn't look like he's ever been in trouble or rough around the edges or nothing like that. So we're sitting here on the floor, and one of the guys that was going to move in here was filming a podcast, but he supposedly was sober, but he wasn't.
Yeah, he had gone. When he helped me, I didn't realize he was doing a bunch of drugs because I had thought that he'd been sober for like the last 5 or 6 years, and he's married. Turns out he'd been sober for about 6 months. And his wife later told me, oh, the longest he's ever gone is a year. She's like, yeah, it's been 3 months, 6 months, and for the last 4 or 5 years. So that morning or the night, I think the night before he had started using drugs, he helped me move. We set up, did the podcast, and he'd been using drugs that whole.
That kid?
No, not the kid.
The
guest. So I caught the kid, like, hey, come watch me. I'll show you how everything works. Like, you know, I told him, I was like,
so he's just hanging out watching.
I told him it's a True Crime channel, but most of these guys we bring in, they're, you know,
super mellow, chill guys.
Yeah, because they've started their lives over. They're reformed.
Working on, you know, bettering their lives. So Matt's interviewing someone else.
Yeah, and this guy cannot be quiet. He's opening up fucking cabinets, slamming
Scrubbing
them,
the
and I'm like, I
floor.
keep looking over at him, and I'm like, and one time I stop, I'm like, hey, bro, what are you doing? He's like, oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, I didn't see you guys there.
My bad. And he has a podcast. He understands you cannot. Right. And so then we start talking again. Then all of a sudden, blah, blah, and he's like, oh, fuck, bro, sorry. I'm like, what the fuck? He's like, fuck you, man. What's like a fuck you, man? And now we start screaming at each other. And he's right here, and I'm like, what are you fucking doing? And I had the whole fucking thing, and I'm like,
you and the kid.
And the kid, we're sitting right here on the floor.
You should have posted that video.
Oh, it's up.
I
left it up.
And Colby left off. And when
I left
he
it up.
left,
I just removed the names and stuff.
Yeah, and I think I said to Colby,
I gotta find it.
Oh yeah.
I told Colby, I think I even said, I said, you know, Colby was like, I'll cut that. I said, don't cut that. Leave that in. Fuck him.
So that kid never came back?
No, he actually did come back.
That's your first day. That's your first day.
I called him the way home, like, hey, dude, like, that is never happens. But,
it was insane. And, you know, what's so funny about that guy, like I said, he was supposed to move in, and he was going through a divorce, and he was supposed to move in, and then, of course, 3 days later, he calls up, he apologizes, listen, I'm good, I want to move in. I'm like, no, you can't come in, bro. You can't come in here. I can't, you're doing drugs. No, I'm all better. I'm sorry. By this point, I've talked to your wife. Or your soon-to-be ex-wife. I already talked to her. She said the longest you ever gone was a year. And that was 5 years ago. And it's been every month or two. She's been struggling. Maybe you've been sober 3 to 6 months at this point. And I'm like, nah, I can't deal with that. And it's not like he's 150 pounds. The guy's 6 foot fucking tall and weighs 200 pounds.
He's probably 6'2".
Yeah, he's a
big boy.
He's a big guy. I can't handle. If things go wrong, it ain't gonna go my way.
No,
I can't say
here freaking
get
out,
bro. He'd be like, "Who are you talking to?" This is just suggestion.
You're like, all right. You're like, you want the master?
Or you can get the big room. It's up to you.
That master's actually really nice back there.
So yeah, but Colby's funny because now Colby's friends call him. And they're like, hey, man, what do you think's going to happen with this? And Colby's like, well, I don't know. If it goes state, he'll probably get this. If it goes federal.
You've learned a lot.
Oh, yeah. I was telling, we came here earlier, and I was telling Matt about, like, okay, we're about to have this guest. Like, this is the story. This is a breakdown. Like, this guy put him on, and this is what he got cut up for.
He said put him on.
Yeah. And Matt's like, you do realize that you just,
You just said put him on. This guy put him on.
Prison talk.
His dad put him on to the game. And he's like, the game. I'm like, the game? Put him on? The fuck are you saying? You can't talk like this in front of your wife.
You changed it.
This isn't even me.
You're corrupted now.
I don't even talk like this. He's throwing slang in there. I stop myself before my wife will say to me, if I say some kind of slanger, she'll be like you said, fall out.
Yeah.
She'll be like, fall out? And I'm like, he fainted. I'm like, fuck, what am I saying? Sorry.
No, you're fine.
Yeah. So,
no,
totally green. But so you're talking about all this stuff is coming into the prison.
Oh yeah, Ada County Jail. So I mean, just flooded.
Body scans.
Yeah. It's at the time they didn't have them. So anyone going to get arrested, especially guys,
they know they're coming.
Yeah, I mean,
so
there's guys serving discretionary days, weekends, or maybe they have to go do a week, and so he'll put an ounce of crystal up his butt.
See, this is what kills me, by the way. This always kills me. Is that these gangster tough guys
putting stuff in their butt?
Well, that in
the prison pocket.
Yeah, your prison purse. Yeah. Like at no point have I ever been in a situation where I thought, oh, I'll just hoop it?
Oh, I've definitely. We'll get to those stories.
Never, like, whatever your mind frame has to be to think, I need to get through this search. I'm just going to hoop it. There's never been a time in my life where I thought,
well, let me explain.
I will be addicted. I will need to, like, no, I'm not doing that.
It's more of like, if you know.
I'll go through detox.
If you know, it's not about it's about, if in a situation, if you know you could not get busted for it, if you put it in a certain place.
Yeah,
they're not going to find it.
I understand the goal. My whole thing is I'll just do without the drugs.
Yeah.
Or the money or whatever that. I've never been in a situation where I thought, like if somebody said, hey, I'm going to sneak this into visitation, and then you'll be able to do, okay, we're already done. We're already done.
You're like, we're moving past it.
If that's part of the plan, we're done with that
when
plan.
someone threw that plan out to me pretty quickly, I was like, yep, that sounds like a good plan. And see, so in Ada County, of course, people are smuggling, and I didn't, it's going to sound weird, hide anything in my butt until prison. Because even in Ada County, it's like, you just put it in your pocket, put it in your waistband. I don't know, because I guess I hadn't learned yet the prison pocket. Because boxers, you could always just stash it in, there's a little pocket in a pair of boxers where you can cut a hole and stash stuff in. It's just a little slit. And so you could hide it there, and that's what I did. Ada County Jail, it sucks. Yeah. Because it's your 20-hour lockdown with 4 dudes. You don't get out. You're only allowed out for 3 hours, and that's MCU. You're getting in trouble. That's where they send you. If you do good, you go to the dorms. A lot more laid back.
So you get to read.
Yeah, I read a lot. Got a lot of books sent in. That's about all you can do.
I was gonna say, it takes about a week for you to really acclimate yourself to being okay with just sitting there and reading.
Well, and then you're doing drugs.
Yeah. Well, I'm not.
So then you're mixing in crystal. So it's you're stuck in a cell for 20 hours.
To make it harder to read.
Yeah, it made it hard to focus on a lot of things. Or
maybe it might make you an amazing reader.
We just played cards, poker. We would literally, cell door would close at night. You'd sit there, play poker until the cell door would open the next day, and it just monotonous and just stupid. And you're just, what am I doing with my life?
Do they have board games?
No.
If you had a day or you knew you had 2 days or a day or two of being in a cell with 4 guys, and you could give me the game Risk, I'd be like,
which game was Risk?
Perfectly happy. We don't even have to wait. Oh, it's cost. Give me some time.
Which game's Risk?
I'm about to invade Russia.
Oh,
officer, please, please.
I got stuff going on.
I'm a little busy right now. My lawyer can come back.
They didn't give us dominoes for the day room.
Yeah,
you could go out and play
know
dominoes.
What Risk is?
No.
Risk is it's a board. It's a game of world domination.
I'm not allowed to play board games in our household.
Are you really?
Yeah, I get. They got shut down. Wife doesn't let me play card games anymore. I'm not even allowed to play Uno. So,
I'm not allowed to play. My wife never wants to be on my team because I'm always like,
yeah.
I try to take over the game. I'm serious.
Yeah. What are you doing?
Yeah. It's like, come on, hurry up. We're playing a game. Like,
oh yeah. Like, come on.
Yeah.
You should already know. It's your turn. You should already know what you're going to do.
Yeah.
And then yes.
And apparently, I like to cheat. I don't believe that. I don't like losing.
Oh,
who does?
Show me somebody that's okay with losing, and I'll show you a loser. You know what I'm saying?
So, not too many board games though. Just drugs. And then I could never make it to the dorms because I was, once again, I like to get in trouble. Mm-hmm. I like the center of attention. So every deputy in Ada County Jail knew me, just because for what I looked like I was 12, mm-hmm. and I was like 95 pounds, and I had long hair. For some reason, I was a stoner before I went in, so I had super long hair.
Hair?
Like past my,
Oh,
and
no.
I thought, as soon as I went to jail, I was like, this has got to go. We're done with this.
No, they'd have you dancing on the table.
Yeah, I was like, so you can see my mugshot. I think I sent you, you can see it was up in a bun at the time. So cut that. My mugshot looks horrible. I have half an eyebrow. I was strung out, and so just looking rough. Cut the hair eventually.
Right.
Couldn't make it to the dorms. The judge sentenced, so I get in trouble for it was a pound and a half bud. But so they charged me for it, and the judge wanted to send me to prison because of my father.
That seems unfair.
Well, it does, but I was there at the house. I was participating in the grow. So he looks at it as, look at what you're doing. So they give me a chance, a rider.
Right.
6 months, Cottonwood, Idaho. Beautiful. That's the beautiful place.
Right.
Mountains. Amazing. For a prison. So, but before I go there, I have a DWP in Burley in Pocatello because I had to go pick up that dude that day. Well, I got pulled over.
Right.
And I got a warrant out for my arrest because I never went. So they have to send me like 4 hours the opposite direction to Eastern Idaho. I go to jail there for 6 months because they say that I absconded from my ticket.
Right.
I was in jail. I was like, I never absconded. You guys put me, I got arrested down here.
It's irrelevant why you didn't show up for the court date.
It's irrelevant, exactly.
Right.
So they say, all right, well, we're going to give you probation. I say, okay, well, I'm headed on a rider. Can we deal with this after the rider? Yeah, no problem. They didn't do that. I got a warrant out for my arrest because I absconded from probation because I didn't sign up for probation. I couldn't because I was in.
It's irrelevant why you didn't show up for probation.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So they ship me now to prison. After the court hearing, they sent me to prison. I'm now, so in Idaho, we have the RDU. RDU, any inmate coming into prison, if you're going to a rider or if you're going to prison, hits RDU on the yard first classifications. Mm-hmm. Then they get classified and sent off. So you have to get sent to the actual prison before you go on your rider. And so this was my first time, like, I guess, walking the yard. And it was it was the yard. So medium secure. And it wasn't bad. It's prison. It was terrifying. I'm 18 years old. I was like, probably going to die or something, get stabbed. You're there for about a week. And you're in a huge hangar. It was literally like an airplane hangar just full of cots. Mm-hmm. And it was like overflow RDU. And half of it is people going to prison and half of it is people going on riders. And so you kind of have like a mix of just inmates that are not wanting to do good because they're headed to prison and inmates wanting to do good because they're headed to a rider. And I did not want to do good. So I kept getting in trouble there. Drugs. Again, I'm now in prison. I thought maybe there won't be drugs here. Never once in all of the time I did in county jail and prison was there never not drugs.
Right.
And it's insane because like it's so abundant. So I get to RDU, they ship me off to Cottonwood, Idaho to do my rider. And it's a 6-month rider, intensive, military style. You shirt tucked in, boots on. You wake up at 6 a.m. or I think at 5:30 and your belt cannot touch your bed until like 8 o'clock at night. You have to stand for you march, all this crap, drug and alcohol counseling, intensive everything. Because they're trying to make you change.
Right.
From being a drug addict.
Yeah. Trying to break you down psychologically to rebuild you as a
good
citizen.
Yeah. During this, 2 dudes escape, just take off running from the compound. They were like 2 months away from getting out. And each of them got 5 more years. And so at the time, there was a 9-month program. That 9-month program was allowed to leave the prison. And like commissary would show up in a truck. They would take inmates from the 9-month program to go unload the commissary into the prison. Mm-hmm. So they would open the gate and let these inmates walk to the commissary truck and walk back in the prison. And they just took off running in the woods.
Kept walking.
Yeah. Lasted like 3 days. Got busted in Washington. I ended up in prison with him later. But I asked him, was it worth it? He's like, I don't know, ask me in 5 years.
Right.
I was like, that doesn't make sense to me, but okay. So I do the program. Struggle really hard with it, almost get kicked out a few times. And got back, went in front of my judge, and he did not want to let me out because I did not do good.
Right.
And he's like, I have a feeling you're going to be back. Back to Burley, they put a warrant out for my arrest. So he releases me from my rider. But I can't be released. I have to be shipped all the way up 3 hours, 4 hours because I have a probation violation. So then I have to be sent to that county jail to fight my probation violation, which it wasn't because I was still in custody. Judge is like, oh, it's our mistake. We're going to release you. So he releases me. So now I'm out, did a rider. And this is so kind of where life takes a turn. Because at first I was like, I'm going to do good. They make it really hard. They don't really want you to succeed, I don't think.
What, when you get
out of prison the first time?
Did you go to a halfway house?
No. And so I got released. I tried to get released with my mom and her boyfriend. At the time, her boyfriend, my new stepdad. They were like, no, he's got guns in the house. So I was like, well, can I go to my buddy's house? And they were like, yeah, that sounds fine. So I went to just a buddy's house and they're smoking herb and, they're partying. And so I got there, got a job. I had to do 90 and 90. So the 90 days or 90 AA meetings in 90 days, I have to do UA's color code. I have to get a job. I don't have a license because I have SR22 insurance. So my mom was having to pick me up, drive me everywhere. And I mean, I was really trying for probably a couple weeks. And then I was like, this sucks. Like, there's just no way. There's no way to do it. There was no way. They were putting too much. I felt like they were putting too much on me. So I was like, I don't think this is going to work out. And Futuristic, the rapper, was coming to Idaho. And it just so happens that we were able to go to an after party. So that night, I go to this after party with Futuristic, and we're partying at this.
Is it Futuristic?
Yeah.
It's Future.
No, there's Future and Futuristic. Two different rappers.
God, this is ridiculous.
And so we're partying there and get some herb. And so I was like, well, I'm going to freaking smoke, right? I'm on probation. So I smoke. And then one thing led to another. I smoked some herb. And then for some reason, next thing you know, I'm doing some crystal.
Gateway drug.
Yeah, exactly. Gateway drug, right? But I mean, within hours, it went from like herb, yayo to crystal. And then the next morning, now I'm high, strung out, sitting in this trailer park. We went back to a house. My PO calls me that morning and he's like, Mr. Gruber. It was just the craziest coincidence that morning he decides he's going to call me. He's like, you need to come in and we got to speak about all these UAs you have. Because I had a bunch of diluted UAs. So they weren't dirty, but I'd just been drinking too much water.
Right.
Because I was hiding what I was doing.
Yeah.
You need to come in and speak to me. No, I'm not going to do that.
It's a bad idea.
I'm like, I can't, man. And he's like, well, we're going to put a warrant out for your arrest. And we are going to find you. And I said, well, I guess that's the way it's going to be. Like, there's no way I can come speak to you right now. And he's like, all right, well, we'll see you later. All right, bye. Hung up. 6 months I went on the run. This is where it starts. Because now I'm like, I start selling drugs again. So I meet up with some people. And at this point, I get strung out on crystal really bad. I start carrying a gun around. I'm now jacking drug dealers. I mean, basically anything to support the habit.
You're a felon.
Yes. So I'm a felon running around with a gun.
In possession of a firearm.
In possession of a firearm. Selling drugs. Don't have a license. So I'm driving cars, no license. I didn't have a license until I got out of prison the last time, until I was 25, 26. So during this whole time, don't have a license, on the run, guns, drugs, and I'm robbing, everyone I can because I have to keep supporting my habit. There's nothing, I'm selling drugs, but I can't sell the drug, because I'm doing them.
Right.
So.
It's a bad business model.
Yeah, it doesn't work out, huh? Yeah. Yeah. And so I end up, the first time I get set up, it was my buddy, Brandon. I'd known him since about third grade, and he wore a wire on me. And I sold him an 8-ball.
What if Brandon had gotten arrested and said, I got somebody?
So I never figured out the full story of what happened. I asked my attorney, and he said he just works for him.
Oh, okay. So he'd been busted at some point, and he's just periodically cracking somebody in the head.
The girl I was dating at the time does get in trouble because she goes to his work.
Right.
And so she does get intimidating a state witness.
Okay. So, go back. So your buddy sets you up.
So he sets me up. So at this time, I'm on the run. I'm selling drugs. Basically just doing whatever I can to survive.
All right.
Living out of hotel from hotel. And it's getting crazy. We're robbing people out of the hotels we're staying at. If there's another drug dealer with weed or with anything, we take it. It doesn't matter. We're just dumb kids that, we were high egos, thought that we were tough and thought we were cool because we had a gun.
Right.
It's all fake. And so he ends up setting me up, wearing a wire on me. During this transaction, I thought that he was my buddy. So he asked questions like, hey, you're jacking a lot of people. What's going on? So I pull out a gun and I'm like, I got a gun. I'm not too worried about it, not knowing that it's all on wire.
Right.
So then I smoke some drugs in the car, some crystal, and we hang out. We talked for like 20, 25 minutes. I did not think that he was wearing a wire on me. I get out, leave. He leaves. And then from that point on, he kept hitting me up, kept being like, hey, I want to buy this off you. I want to buy this off you. And every time he would message me being like, hey, can I get an ounce of crystal off you? Something would happen. Like one time I lost my wallet, so I couldn't drive to him. Huge incident. I had to go find my wallet. Another time, something else happened. Finally, after weeks of this, And it just so happened every time he hit me up, something bad had happened where I couldn't deal with it.
Right.
And then finally one morning I ran into him at a Maverick gas station and he was limping. And he's like, hey man, can I borrow $50? I was like, no, I'm not going to loan you $50. If I loan you $50, you're never going to see it again. You're a drug addict. And I was like, but I got this sawed-off shotgun you could sell. And so for some reason, I pull out a sawed-off shotgun at Maverick at 7 a.m. and I'm waving it around. And I'm like, yeah, $250, you keep 50. I make $200. And he's like, oh, yeah, message you later. And I'm like, perfect. Later that night, he messages me. Hey, man, I'll buy that sawed-off shotgun, and do you have anything else you could sell me? And I was like, yeah, I got 4 Dilaudidins, D8s. And so he was being suspicious. He's being weird. And at one point, he pocket dialed me, and I answer, and it's his sister and him. Know his sister as well. And she's like, you can't do this to Alex. You can't do this. And I'm like, what is she talking about? And I'm sitting there listening to this conversation. And he's like, no, you don't understand. And like, she's like, you can't do this. And I'm like, what is he trying to jack me? I'm like, this is weird. Like, he's trying to rob me. I have the gun now. Like, you're going to try to rob a dude that you're coming to meet me and I have a sawed-off shotgun. So finally he answers and I'm like, dude, I have a loaded shotgun. It's like, if you're coming to rob me, just know that like you're coming to the gun. And he's like, oh, no, I'm not trying to rob you. She just doesn't want me buying drugs off you. And I was like, that was a weird conversation I just overheard though. And like, never once was she like, you shouldn't buy drugs off him. She was like, you shouldn't do this to him. And he's like, oh, no, it's fine. And I'm like, whatever, I trust him. And at this time, I had cut the power to a hotel room by accident. So the hotel had given me another room. So I was like, I'll just have him meet me at the hotel room that doesn't have power because I still had the key to it. So he ends up coming to buy the sawed-off shotgun and Dilaudidins. I'm been wanted for 6 months, been on the run, and been up to all sorts of mischievous stuff. I mean, at this point, they pulled me over. I'd given fake names. I'd gotten tickets. I'd pushed my luck too far. And so I walk out of the hotel. There's 3 dudes with sweatshirts zipped up, standing there. I walk out, light up a cigarette. I asked him how their night was going. Oh, good. How's yours? Good. Walk over to his car, jump in there. And the whole time I have a duffel bag with a sawed-off shotgun in it. Walk to his car, jump in there, throw him the gun. And we sat there and BS'd again for another 10, 15 minutes. I thought, I don't know. I don't know if I'd be that comfortable setting someone up. Like, he was so casual and cool about it. Like, it was nothing. Like,
right.
Yeah. Like, it was nothing. Still blows my mind because I would be freaking out. I don't know if I would be. That's insane. So
well, he's got 3 deputies or 3 officers.
Oh, there was a lot more than that.
Okay. So he's got these guys surrounding
Those were
him.
U.S. Marshals.
He feels perfectly comfortable.
Yeah. So those were 3 U.S. Marshals that I did not know they were U.S. Marshals until I get out of the car and he drives away and the whole parking lot lights up. I mean, dogs, cops, those U.S. Marshals with guns. And at the time, I had a machete on my side. That's a whole nother story. So it got to the point where
You just don't seem like this guy, by the way.
Yeah. I mean, my wife has been there when I've pulled machetes on people at gas stations. And at the time when I was doing drugs, I would flip within it was
don't
not
know
good.
that I could take you seriously.
Oh,
yeah. If you like taking me seriously, say, I'll beat your fucking ass, guys. But come on, stop it, Cox. Stop it. I know you're mad.
Calm down. Oh yeah, dude. If you saw me with long hair and this little tiny kid,
super skinny,
but that was like, I never got robbed.
Right.
No one ever jacked me. So I mean, it somehow worked. But so the parking lot lights up. I got my phone in my hand, and I was like, I got to delete these messages. My dealer was about to show up, so I start deleting. They say I'm going for a weapon because I got a machete on my side. They know I carry guns. So
you
all
got
of
a shotgun and a machete.
Yeah.
They said I was going for a weapon. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
Those assholes.
In my mind, I was like,
They're
dude,
making
you
shit
really
up.
thought I was going to pull a machete on you? Like, you're...
What did they? You do have a shotgun.
No, I sold it. I
I thought you were still sitting in the car.
No. So they waited until as soon as I got out of the car, he drove away.
Oh,
so
okay.
I thought...
You didn't say that.
So
I don't think.
I thought that he had left and he'd gotten away. So I'm clear and safe. So he drives away. I go to my girlfriend's car at the time and I grabbed a different duffel bag out with like scales and like a bunch of paraphernalia. And then as soon as I leave her car and start to walk back to that door, the whole parking lot lights up. I mean, cops, dogs. I was like, how were you guys so quiet for so long? Then I didn't know you guys were there. But as soon as you wanted to, you made a presence being like, you're going to jail.
Well, because if they made a bunch of noise,
Yeah, then I wouldn't have came out.
Yeah, I mean, seems
those
perfectly.
dogs, though, those dogs are the most aggressive, terrifying thing when they're in your face. But they're dead silent for half an hour.
Yeah, they're well trained.
Yeah, well trained.
They say something in German and they
They want to kill you.
Yeah.
So they say I'm going for a weapon. U.S. Marshal scoops me up, face plants me in the ground, knee again to the back of the neck, gun to the head. I was like, dude, I'm not going for a gun. I'm not going for a weapon. Bruise my ribs. I mean,
pull out the fucking machete. What's this?
That's
there you go. It's personal protection.
That was the first
Don't you
thing.
have a machete?
That was the first thing he did was rip it off my side, and I was like, dude, I'm not gonna grab. Like,
walks around with a machete?
at the time, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
I mean, you don't live in the bush. You know, you're not Australian.
No, this was
you know?
this was like Eagle, Idaho. I would walk into a Walmart with a machete on my side.
Oh my god.
And so and the crazy part is I would steal stuff at Walmart, and like I would go into a Walmart at Fred Meyer's and walk out with a shopping cart of stuff, and no one would try to stop me because I had a machete on my side. So it worked out. Like in the time, in my rationalization in my mind of on drugs and a machete, I was like, this is a good idea. Wasn't, because that's why they tackled me to the ground, was because of the machete. And I had another one in the duffel bag. But they go up to the room, girlfriend's screaming. They're like, do you want to see her? I was like, no, that's a whole nother mess. They're like, light up a cigarette. They were like, we'll light you up a cigarette. They light up a cigarette. They're like, you're going to jail, sir. Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, I know. I'm wanted from felony probation. At this time, that's it. I'm wanted. They're like, we've been looking for you for a while, Mr. Gruber. You're wanted.
Right.
I'm like, yeah, I know. All right, back to Ada County Jail. They interrogate me for a minute. They're like, hey, you've been on the run. What have you been doing? You've been selling drugs. I was like, yeah. They UA me. I pee hot for everything. Right. I was like, this was pointless. My PO comes in. He's like, I told you I'd find you. And I was like, yeah, U.S. Marshals did.
You're very clever.
Yeah. Go to court, have a paid attorney. William Partridge, he's actually the coolest guy ever. At the time, the girl I was dating only paid him like one of the payments.
Right.
And
Get
then
him started.
Yeah, and then was like, never mind. And he was like, look, dude, you guys owe me a lot of money.
Right.
And he's like, but I'm going to take this case because you're screwed. He was like, you're a kid. He's like, I'm going to represent you and help you. Didn't work. Tried to get another rider. The judge waited till sentencing to bring up the fact. This whole time, my girlfriend went to his work, the dude's work, to try to ask him about, like, did you drive away okay? And she gets arrested for intimidating state witness. And I'm like, that's weird. But at this time, I had no charges brought to me. So I just still think I'm in Ada County Jail because I was wanted for selling bud.
Right. Well, the probation violation.
Yeah, and a probation violation. It's not a big deal, though. Because that's like, it's in my mind, I'm like, I'll do another rider. At sentencing, my judge or my attorney's asking for a rider. He's like, Mr. Gruber messed up. He's a young kid. My judge says, no, he didn't mess up. He was selling guns and drugs on the streets of my town. So not only was he on the run from felony probation, but then he went back to doing the same thing he was doing before. And I was like, that's weird. How did he know that? I never got charged for guns and drugs. He sentences me to 5.5 years in prison for the original probation violation and £1.50. Right after court, my attorney calls me into the little meeting room, and he's like, yeah, I just got served a warrant by the ATF. I was like, for what? And he's like, well, that sawed-off shotgun that you had? Yeah, you're screwed. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, they hit you with unlawful possession of a firearm, prohibited person, felon in possession of a firearm, having an altered firearm, possession with the intent to distribute ice, possession with the intent to distribute pharmaceutical drugs. And I was like, well, what's going to happen? And he's like, well, for $80,000, I can represent you. And I was like, buddy, she didn't pay you the $1,000 I owed you.
Right.
What makes you think? And he's like, well, I'll tell you this much. You're going to prison for a long time. He's like, that's all.
You
I
already
know.
got 5 years. Yeah, I already got for 5 years.
So it's 2 plus 3. So 2 plus 3. So in Idaho, they don't give you like a straight sentence. They'll give you like two years and then 5 years on parole. But then it's up to the parole board to decide if you get out or not.
Okay.
So a 2-year fixed with 3 years in a tournament. So I was like, well, I'm screwed. And he's like, yeah. So, I mean, the paperwork, when you see your name against the United States of America,
Who always says this?
it's terrifying because it is. When you're like, oh, damn. And then I'm this kid.
Different when it's Idaho.
Yeah, because it's like, it's
Or
just a
Utah
state. You know what I mean? Like, I pissed off one state,
Right.
but now I pissed off
The whole United States
all
is
of you.
upset with you.
Yeah, and it's the ATF. Like, I was like, well, what do you mean it's the ATF? Alcohol, tobacco, and firearms. It's the ATF and E now. The alcohol, tobacco, and firearms and explosives. They had to add that in there. I was like, I went back and was showing all these inmates. I'm like, dude, what's gonna happen? They're like, yeah, you're screwed, kid. Like, you're going to federal prison. And I was like, no, that can't happen. Like, I'm 8. At this time, I'm 19. Mm-hmm. So I went in at 18, did the rider, got out, went on the run for 6 months, went right back. And now I'm in there again. So then I go to federal court, which is a beast of its own. I mean, the black box, those U.S. Marshals ripping through. They'll never take the same route twice to the courthouse.
Yeah.
So like,
and the difference in the budget, you can immediately tell the difference in the budget between state court and federal. You walk into the federal court and you're like, oh, these fuckers have some money.
Oh
yeah, this is.
You're like, you walk in there and you're like, I'm fucked.
Yeah. Yeah. There's nothing held together with duct tape. There's no fucking, like, this is all like premium shit.
And
like,
just the building itself, the federal courtarball building, it's like black keypads where there's no numbers. They type it in and you're like, I screwed up. And so
everybody matches, all the uniforms match. Like, you go to the state court, it's like you guys are throwing shit together from a thrift store.
They're rugged looking. And the deputies in state, the deputies at the state court are always COs that used to be correctional officers. Then they moved to the courthouse because they wanted to transition their career. So then you end up seeing them there. But these U.S. Marshals are a real deal. And they tell you there, like, because it says we never miss our man. And I was like, oh, yeah? What about these extradition states or countries? And you talk about this. They say that if we want you bad enough, we'll come into a country, put a black bag over your head and pull you out. It doesn't matter where you're at.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh.
Yeah, I've met over a dozen guys exactly that. They're like, I was in my fucking country. I was in my country. Like, these fuckers can't.
And America's like, doesn't matter.
We're gonna just go ahead and just grab you.
Yeah. And so first time I go to court there, they walked me through the main lobby, told everyone to get against the wall. I mean, made it seem like I was this big deal, like this huge. I mean, the people in the courtroom, even the U.S. Marshals were like, it was a kid. Like, they were caught off guard that this 18, 19-year-old, 80 to 90-pound kid was going in here. And it helped me tremendously. I mean, through the entire process, you were talking earlier about the prosecuting attorney. Mine had just lost a family member. So we go through the whole process. My attorney shows me the point system. 5 to 7 years is my point system. I have one prior charge for the trafficking of bud. Then they tell me, okay, it's 5 to 7 years is your range, but because you have the youthful offender going for you, you look young, so you might be able to get under. So come sentencing day, they ask for the youthful offender, whatever. The prosecuting attorney had just lost a family member and was late for court. His family member had passed away in a car accident or something. So he was late for court. And so they had to postpone it for like 20 minutes. Then he shows up bawling his eyes out. And he goes in to start talking about how I should not be there. My father should be there for raising me this way. That a young kid going into a system like this is just going to corrupt them and destroy them. So the judge at the end of it was like, he couldn't send, he said, he's like, I cannot sentence you to go to prison for 7 years. He's like, in good conscience and goodwill, the way, I mean, you look like you're a child.
Right.
So he gave me 3 years. Well, I had already had state, so now I'm sentenced to state and federal time. The judge also wanted me to go to federal prison because the classes are better. They had the drug and alcohol program to get RDAP. And he told me all about this, and he made it seem like federal camp prisons, I mean, you'll get the help you need. So,
in a way,
if you want it.
Yeah, you got to work for you.
Yeah, there you go. So if you want it, and I believe that federal prison probably does have better classes, better programs than state-ran prisons. I firsthand, the state prisons they don't want you to get better.
Right.
Because if you quit being a drug addict, who's going to fill that bed? So I go to state prison. At this point, I'd done.
Do you do the 5, or do you do the 2 years and then go to federal, or
that was the plan?
Concurrent.
That was the plan.
Okay.
So no, it was ran concurrent, but I was almost topping my 2 years because of the state time and rider time. So by the time I got to prison, and it was ran concurrent, they like a month into prison, they're like, all right, we're paroling you. You have a parole hearing. So I was like, sweet. Hell yeah. Get me out to federal prison. Let's go. I'll go do my 3 years out there. Parole board, no. You have to come back in a year. And I was like, why? No, you haven't given us enough time. And I was like, that doesn't make any sense. You've taken 2 years of my life. Not enough.
For you.
And so at this point, but at this point, I'd done good in prison for the most part. Hadn't gotten in trouble. I hadn't done good. I'd done drugs. I just hadn't gotten in trouble. And up until this point, I was like, I'm going to stay away from gangs because that's stupid. There's no need for that in your life. So then I get to prison. They deny me. And then when I got sent to prison, it was ICC. At the time in 2013, right before 2013, you can actually Google it. ICC was a private ran prison in Idaho. I think there was only 2 privately ran prisons. One is a rider facility, one is ICC. Idaho took it back because a dude beat another dude for like an ungodly amount of time while the COs just watched. It's all on YouTube, the video. It's insane. The dude's new name is Houston that beat the other guy. I actually met him in there. He beats this guy, family sues for like $30 million, wins. Idaho takes the prison back. The 2012 and 2010 up to 2012, ICC was ranked in the top 5 worst hand-to-hand combat prisons in America because it was a private prison. So then I go in 2013, right when Idaho was trying to take it back, and it was just,
Chaos.
Oh, yeah. Because at the time that ICC, the private prison, was running it, they were allowing the gangs to run it. Full control. Dudes are getting stabbed. Kids are getting stabbed. It was bad. So then Idaho steps in. So they're trying to crack down on it, just putting us in lockdown. If there's a fight, 6-day lockdown, 3-day lockdown. So I get there, and it's my first experience with now prison because the RDU doesn't count. It's like, I guess you go to prison, but it's like a week.
Right.
And you don't really, familiarize yourself with prison.
Right.
So they sent me to ICC, medium secure facility, because I got the federal hold. My buddy, I have a friend named Kai who lives in a wing called JKL. So the wings there are ABC, DEF, GHI, JKL. And so it's 3 pods. And he's a 6'2" Samoan Hawaiian guy. Could beat the living, just a big dude.
Right.
So he has no problems in prison. Really good buddy of mine. So I was like, the prison was like, do you have any family member? And I was like, yeah, my cousin Kai lives here. I shouldn't have said anything because right away they're like, well, we'll send you with him. We'll put you over in that unit. Well, that's JKL. That's like the gang units. So there's in ICC in Idaho, there's West Wing and North Wing. Well, North Wing's gangs, activity, stuff like that. People getting in trouble, drugs. West Wing's PC cases, protective custody, offenders, the people transitioning into being whatever sex.
Right.
And then, so they sent me to North Wing, JKL, with my cousin and all the gangs. Because I was like, just want to be with someone I know.
Right.
I wanted to feel comfortable.
Yeah.
And so I get over there, and at first I was like, I'm not going to participate in the whole gang thing. I'd just gotten flopped, so I was kind of bitter. And so I love card games, love poker. So I was playing poker, slowly start to meet some Sureños, Southside Mexicans. And from there, things just led one to another. And next thing you know, my homie's asking me, whose back do you have if stuff pops off? And I was like, well, no one's. And he's like, well, are you going to
go in my cell?
He's like, are you going to back up the white guys or the Mexicans? And I was like, well, shit, dude, you've been helping me out. You guys help, we're spreading together. Fuck you. You help loan me a TV, whatever. I was like, I'd probably have your back. Well, that turned into now you're gang affiliated.
Right.
As a kid, you don't see these things coming. So then I got a buddy that's bringing Bud in. And so back in Ada County, there was a dude on video visits. And he was visiting 2 girls. One was a bigger girl and one was skinnier. And I was like, dude, what's up with that skinny girl? And he's like, oh, she's underage. I was like, oh, fuck, never mind. I was like, what's up with that bigger girl? And he's like, that's my sister. I was like, perfect. And I was like, I'm going to use her, right? And he's like, oh, yeah, I don't give a shit. And I was like, perfect. Because what you want to do when you're in there is find a bigger girl. We're going to get into this real quick.
Oh, my God.
Listen, they support you. They help you out. You know what I mean? They know what it's like to go hungry. this is probably going to get me banned.
They knew it. If they knew what it was like to go hungry, they wouldn't be bigger girls. But okay.
True. Yeah, but missing a meal to them, when you start talking about missing meals, they're like, damn, that sucks.
Yeah.
You can pull at their heartstrings, you know what I mean? So I tell him I'm going to use her. And he says, well, that's a good idea. So I write her. So when I got to prison, as soon as I got sentenced, the day I got to prison, I didn't even know she'd put in a visit request. So all of a sudden there's a visit request in, she's coming to see me, and I'm like, what the fuck, this chick's crazy. Worked out, because if they fall in love, easy to manipulate. So you convince them that you're in love. So then her friend is bringing her boyfriend, Bud.
I was just thinking this is your husband.
Yeah. So her friend is visiting her boyfriend in there, my buddy Squeak, and she's bringing him Bud. So I'm like, Megan, what's up? Like, it's fucking going hungry in here. If you just bring me these balloons, make some money, and we're good. And she's like, there's no way that's going to happen. I'm not, no. And I was like, well, you're in college right now. You need a laptop. They'll drop off 3 balloons and a laptop. Mm-hmm. You keep the laptop, you give me 3 balloons. I mean, it's a pretty good trade. She's like, that's a great trade. So now she's bringing me in. She thinks it's herb, but Bud. It's crystal. So now I'm having my buddy package crystal, drop it off to her. She's bringing me in 3 balloons at a time, 3 8-balls. And it just kind of.
It's like straight to hell, bro.
Oh, yeah.
Like
it gets crazy.
Straight to hell.
So,
like, this is horrible.
So now I'm bringing this stuff into visits.
She's like, it's just some Bud.
Yeah. She's like,
I have a quick question. How do you facilitate that from prison? How do you give how do you set that up?
At one point, towards the end of it all, it was my sister. At the beginning, we had homies out there. Yeah, you're the one that dropped it off when I got arrested. Towards the last one, your homie, your ex-boyfriend. Yeah. Yeah.
But how do you get that? How do you get that word out, out of the prison?
So we have homies out there, and so we're definitely going to get into that because the phone calls, the phones that we know are recorded. You think you're being sneaky and talking about dropping off a pair of white shoes. They're not stupid.
Yeah, I was going to say.
My mouth. Yeah. So and I tried to argue that the detective's not a Fed, so he doesn't know how to encrypt these codes. But the judge is like.
Yeah.
I mean, why do you keep bringing up a pair of white shoes or a pair of black shoes? I mean, why do you need to have so many pairs of shoes dropped off? Borderline, So you try to talk code to your people out there. They drop it off. And we got away with it. I mean, I did it for a long time in prison. So that's the one thing. I had a very good system on how I did it. And I was a drug addict, so I made sure that I never got busted.
Okay. So you're being vague. So someone drops it off to this
someone
chick.
drops off. Sorry. She
brings it in.
So get into detail. She would put in her bra. So someone drop off 3 8-balls of.
Start with the phone call.
Yeah.
Yeah. Start with the phone call. So you're sitting. This is how I'm thinking. Like you're sitting in a jail cell by yourself. Like I want to get this stuff in here.
Yeah. So
what's the first step?
So at first it started out with me trying to convince her to do this because she's like, "There's no way in hell you're tripping." So it took weeks of visits. It's not just like you're going to convince a girl that's never done this to be like,
you got to wear them down.
Yeah. And then, you start offering money. Then you bring up a laptop. Next thing you know, she's got a laptop. She's got 3 balloons at her house.
She hasn't been arrested. Now, she feels good about it.
Yeah. She's never been in trouble. Yeah.
Right.
She's in love with this dude that is going to, I don't know what the hell they're thinking. Cause I'm going to change. My life's changed. I'm going to change in here. But yet you're bringing me
I've always been into big girls.
Yes. That was one of her things.
So many guys that look like me are.
One of her things was, I don't look like any of your exes. And I was like, yeah, but I'm trying to change everything about me. So this is one of the things I want to change is
big girls.
Yeah. I'm now into big girls. So convince her. Right, my homie makes a call. So I tell my homie, and my homie's name, the dude that pulled me up named Lil Joe. I'm like, Lil Joe, all right. He was the one that was like, we got to convince her to do this. Because goddamn, dude, you're going to make a shit ton of money. You like to get high, whatever. So he makes a call, basically has his homie get her number. He takes over 3 balloons. And the way we did it is they were wrapped in pink balloons. And it was specifically pink balloons because we used strawberry chocolate milk, strawberry milk. And so you'd put them in the pink balloons. She'd put them in her bra. And she would come to the visit just hang out. Just because in Idaho, you have to sit across from each other and you can't have any physical contact. Right. You can like hold hands for a second, but if they see anything, and there's cameras everywhere, there's COs watching. So she would have him in her bra and we'd be playing FaceTime. And my whole thing was you have to act as casual and as natural as possible. So when you get up to the bathroom and you go put those balloons in your mouth, I would have her take the balloons, go to the bathroom, put them in her mouth, come back and sit down. So she's sitting there with those balloons in her mouth. You keep playing FaceTime. Don't come sit down and grab my drink and all of a sudden freaking start chugging it.
Right.
Because they're going to look for that. So she'd sit down. I'd have a strawberry milk right here. She grabbed it earlier in the visit. She'd sit down, and you can still talk while holding things in your mouth. All they want to do is see the mouth move. So when she's sitting there, she's moving her mouth, acting like we're having a conversation because they're watching her. They just watched her walk out of that bathroom. They're looking for an abnormality to see if she's going to do something different. So she'd grab the milk and just spit one in there slowly, close it, set it down. Just keep talking, pick it up, slowly spit one in there, set it down, and I would leave them there because now they're watching to see if are you going to grab that drink right after to hurry up and chug it.
To put that together, they'd have to have watched straight for fucking 10 minutes. But 10 minutes later, when you grab that,
they're not still thinking about
somebody else.
And so COs would walk by and they would open the milk and look in. Pink balloons, foamy strawberry milk. They wouldn't see anything. Right. And so they would look in there and they do a quick look. They're not. So they'd set it down. And there was times where I was, sweating bullets because there's a CO sitting here talking. I'm a very friendly person. So I was very friendly with all the COs. Probably wasn't the best thing as you're doing this because they would be sitting there. They would come over and start BSing with me and her. And, oh, how's your guys' day going? And I'm sitting there just being like, dude, get the fuck away from me because I got to swallow these. And one time I choked on one. And it was like a weird oval shape and it got lodged in my throat. And I'm sitting there, eyes are turning red, like I can't breathe. And she was ready to ask for help. And I was like, you are not going to ask for help right now. So I just started slamming every drink at the table I could and I was able to get it down. But and I had the best system. I would watch people get busted. I never told anyone how I did it because the strawberry milk was the best system at the time where I was at because I would watch people get busted. And I would sit there, swallow these 3 balloons and walk back to visit. And I wouldn't throw them up. That's the other thing is you don't go straight back to your cell to go throw up. Because what people would get busted, they'd come back to visit, walk straight back to their cell, go throw up these balloons, pull them out and then get high. And then the COs would walk in their cell and be like, well, now you're screwed. Because now you've got the drugs on you. You've been using the drugs. So my thing was I poop them out next day. Get back to the unit and hang out. Go sit at the poker table and play poker. You have to act as casually as possible. This later came to bite me in the butt because an 8-ball.
Your parents must be so proud.
So later on, down the road, and not even later on. At this point, I'm 20, coming up to my 21st birthday. I'd smuggled in I'd done it a couple times. And I told my buddy, I was like, I want to get really high for my 18th or my 21st birthday. And he's like, all right, dude, screw it, do it. So I was like, I'm going to bring in 2 8-balls. One goes to the homies, one goes to me. So I'm going to take that and I'm going to use the whole thing. I brought it in to visiting that night. The next day, I woke up at like 6 a.m., just ready to go. And I remember that day because I woke up and I was like, all right, start the day.
It's going to be a good day.
It's going to be a good day, right? Up and ready. And I was like, that's weird. And I'm sitting there tweaking out on this magazine. And my homies are like, dude, it's 6 a.m. You can't put this. And it was a magazine that sold books. So it was a magazine with little descriptions of books.
Yeah. The bargain. Yeah. Bargain
so
book magazine.
So I'm sitting there reading about every single book. And they're like, dude, you're tweaking out right now. Did one of those balloons open up? You good? And I was like, yeah, I'm good. I'm just ready to go. I just feel great this morning. And then rec got called. So I walk out to rec. And it felt like someone took a fucking dimmer switch and went zzz and cranked it up. All of a sudden, it just bright. And I was like, oh, I'm fucked. I'm high. This is not good. At this time, I'd only been in prison about 3 months. So I didn't really know anyone or feel too comfortable with people. I had my homies, the Serranos. But at this point, an 8-ball of dope, so I just blew it by my stomach. So I've never been this high in my life. I don't think a lot of people have. I walk up to my buddy Troy, and I'm like, Troy, what would happen if an 8-ball of an 8-ball of dope blow up in your stomach? And he's like, well, you could have a heart attack. He's like, worst case is your heart stops. So you can't really OD on crystal, your heart will just stop. You have a heart attack. Your heart can't keep beating. It just gives up.
Feels like that.
It's an OD. Yeah. So I'm freaking out. I mean, I'm freaking dripping. This is March. It's not that hot out. And I'm sweating bullets. I've never been so hot. At this point, my body's freaking out. He's like, okay, we got to get you back to the unit because you're going to have a really rough time. He ends up leaving me in the hallways. And I have to wander back to the unit myself. A whole mess. Sergeant stops me. He's like, what are you doing? And I'm high. I was like, oh, I'm coming back from rec. And he's like, you're not supposed to be moving through the prison right now. What do you mean you're walking through the halls? And I felt like I was floating through the hall. Like, I've never been so high in my life. I mean, an 8-ball had just blown up my stomach. For 5 days, I didn't sleep. I seized up for like the first 2 nights. I mean, my homies thought I was going to die. They were like ready to call medical. For 5 nights, didn't sleep at all. Finally, on the 5th night, I thought we were going to escape. We were supposed to jump a cop. In my mind, I had packed everything up. There were snowmobiles waiting for us. The corporal comes over. I start screaming at him. My homie Beats comes over. He's like, what the fuck is going on, dude? And I'm like, we're supposed to be getting out of here, man. And he's like, you need sleep. And he's like, you have no clue what's going on right now. And I'm like, dude, they have snowmobiles. They're waiting for us. And he's like, Alex, this isn't good. And he's like, you need to go to bed. I threw my tablet at the wall, stormed off to bed, and actually went to bed. Woke up the next morning and was like, what the hell had just happened? I was like, I don't think I should do that. One of the COs called me out, was like, we know what happened. Like, if you ever do this again, I don't think he really knew the full extent of what had happened. But like, I went from being a very talkative, the person on the tier, everyone wants to like, and then for 5 days I was gone, just in my cell. Couldn't leave the bed. I mean, I couldn't get up. It like body season. So then I was like, I'm going to keep smuggling drugs in. Because why wouldn't you?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Just double balloons this time.
Yeah. Make them strong. Happen again.
How big was Big Girl? I mean, was she
She's
like...
not that... She was like...
Are we like... When you hugged her, could you touch...
No.
You couldn't touch her?
No. Like, probably close, but not...
Okay.
I hope she doesn't see this.
I have a buddy in prison. His name is Ellis Cook. And Ellis had a girl.
A big girl.
It was actually a friend of his sister who came in, and he was like, bro, I ain't seen her in a while, but she's a big girl. She's a big girl. And so when he got back from visit, he said, we were like, what does she look like, bro? Like, well, he's like,
the bigger, hold on.
It's not like I could almost touch my hand. He's like, I was not.
But what they
she's
say,
100 pounds away from me touching my
what
hands.
they say, the bigger the better, because
she
held it down.
$400 or $500 on the book. She's doing whatever he wants.
This is a tested theory in there.
Absolutely.
I mean, clearly it works.
Well, every time someone comes on here and talks about a CO helping them, like a
oh
female
God,
CO,
I got a story.
Matt always asks, he's like,
What's she look like?
Yeah.
Like
So Boswell, I'll throw her name out there. She ended up getting fired. Later on, years down the road, I'm trying to bribe every cop I can. She's one of them. She was bringing me sushi. She would give me ribs.
This is a CO. Okay.
So, I mean, rough lady. I mean, in there though, I was like,
giving me sushi and ribs, which she's just pulling out of her lunchbox.
Yeah,
like, that's her normal. She got a full fucking rack of ribs.
She would go get a meal and then bring it in like a to-go meal and then freaking break me off. And she'd call me out, Mr. Gruber, come out to the foyer. Oh, yeah, you can go out there, and I'd come back with just like napkins full of food. Well, then the Serenios in there decided that you can't go out in the tier you can't leave the tier by yourself, so you have to bring someone, a homie. So the buddy system, so no one's snitching. So then I bring this dude out there. She breaks us off some sushi. I get some sushi, come back in. A couple days later, they want to heart check him. So they're like, hey, he's about to get out. He's about to parole. They're like, you got to go beat the shit out of this dude. And when we all go to lunch or dinner or whatever, he checks in, tells the freaking COs that, Boswell's bringing Gruber food, all this gang activity. Well, he's got to say something. He wants to go home.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I'm about to go home, and you tell me
they test him to see if he's got the heart still. They're like, you're about to go home, so you got to go beat
Fuck
this.
you,
And
we're
all he had to do was say, all right, I'm down, and they would have been like, all right, cool, you're good. You don't actually have to do it. But like in that situation, he was like, no, fuck you guys, I'm out. Like I'm trying to go home.
Yeah,
he rats on me.
Right.
They don't have any proof that she's doing this, but they separate us in the prison. She ends up going to West Wing. I stay in North Wing. She ends up getting arrested and fired for passing out pictures of her vagina to the inmates. And I mean, with her face in it, like, so they find the photos and they're like, hold on, that looks like one of our COs. And so she gets fired. And I'm like, what the heck? But she was rough. And my whole thing with her was the day I knew it was going to work, we were walking on the tier. And I was like, when she walks up the stairs, I'm going to put my hand on her back and guide her up the stairs. And if she freaks out, I got to stop doing this because, like, we're screwed. And I guided her up the stairs. When we got up the stairs, she looked at me and she's like, did you just have your hand on my back? And I was like, yeah, what about it? She's like, all right. And I was like, she does not care. Then I tried to bribe another cop. He did care. I ended up in the hole for that one. Yeah.
What did he say when you put your hand on his back?
I did not do that. I offered him like $1,000. And he was like, nah, dude.
I'm not sending you pictures of my privates.
Yeah. And then I think I got up to like a couple grand. And next thing you know, Investigations is calling me over the intercom system. And Mr. Gruber, you're going to the hole. I was like, for what? And like, yeah, you know. But so I did this. So I decided to start smuggling. The balloon blows up. 3 months later, another 8-ball blows up. This time I'm a little bit more, I knew what was coming. So I woke up from a dead sleep. It's like 2 a.m. I was like, oh, strap in, buddy. It's going to be a long one. 3 days later, came out of it.
Get the snowmobile ready.
Yeah.
We're out of this bitch.
This time there was no escape plans. This time 3 days. And like after 3 days, I was good. I was like, all right, now I can nap and we're past it. So doing that. And finally, so during this whole time, the prison kept UAing me. They would only UA me when I was sober. It was the funniest thing. So I got 13 UAs in like a little over my first year in prison. And there was dudes that had been doing 20 and 20, like 20 years fixed. They've been in there 18 years. And he's like, I've been UA'd twice. Mm-hmm. He's like, how have you, what? He's like, you have such a target painted on your back that they're just after you. It's because they knew I would come back from visiting and they would joke with me and be like, oh, you got to go throw up now? You got to go throw up? And I'd be like, dude, what are you tripping? I don't like, what you think? I don't do that. And then they would sit there and watch me on the cameras because I knew that they were watching me. So I'd just go play poker. I would make it so that they didn't know. They knew, but they couldn't prove it.
Right.
Until I finally got UA'd about a year and a half in. And I don't know what was going on that time, but I just wanted to get really effed up in there. So over a 3-day period, I did an 8-ball crystal. Didn't sleep. And I cut the power to 4 of the cells by accident.
What does that mean? I still don't understand cutting power.
Oh, I accidentally flipped a breaker and like legitimately cut the power. It's like 4 cells. It's like...
Right. How do you flip the breaker?
So a dude told me that in federal prison, they made little Bunsen burners.
Yeah.
So I thought in my tweaked out mind, I could do that.
Put one together?
Yeah.
It's like a stinger?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I was going to... So at the time we were making... he was telling us how people would deep fry stuff with stingers and make Bunsen burners and stuff like that. So I was like, that's something I could do. That's something I could pull off. No, I arced it, flipped the power, flipped the breaker.
Right,
and so there's a breaker that they can get to flip the power to. And then there's a breaker that they have to call someone to flip. And I flipped the main one, the big one. So my homies, being my homies, they're stupid. They were like, you have to go tell the COs you did it. And I was like, I haven't slept in 3 nights. I don't think I should be the one to go out there and talk to the COs. They're like, yeah, you need to go admit to it. So I went out and I was like, I flipped the breaker that night. They UA'd me. And I failed. And so then my homies were like, why'd you pee in the cup? You're not supposed to pee if you know you're dirty. Because then they know there's drugs.
Yeah.
I was so high, I convinced myself I was clean. So, yeah, that didn't work. They pulled me out of the cell at 2:30. I was playing Sudoku, pee in a cup, pee. Week later, headed to Max. From there, it just kind of spiraled into more shit. Went to Max, so IMSI in Idaho Maximum Security Institution. At this point now, I'm labeled as a affiliate to the Sureños. They put me into GHI, which is Max at ICC first. And there's GHI. And these tiers are cut in half in GHI because it's Max. So it's like a big tier, but the wall down the center. So then half the tier. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so they're smaller. Well, they put me on this side with dudes that aren't affiliated when this side is affiliated. And my homie's like, well, you got to fight someone now. And I'm like, why? I'm like, because those are dudes that aren't affiliated and you're affiliated. So I'm like, at this point, I've been in prison for a year and have never fought anyone. I mean, I don't fight. I'll carry around machetes and guns because I don't want to fight with fists, which was probably stupid. And so I ended up having to go and freaking fight a dude. Punch me in the face, get maced, whatever. They moved me other side of the tier now. All my homies are like, oh yeah, fuck, hell yeah. They call me Nino. Hell yeah, Nino. And everyone's all happy. So then they roll me up to IMSI because they're like, well, now you're in our max fighting. So now you're going to Idaho Maximum Security Institution. And I was like, what? So they send me over there. And again, I mean, just it's never an environment for you to do good. You know what I mean? And so now I'm around a bunch of gang members and they're like, well, you've now failed UAs. You've now fought. So now you got to put in some work. And I'm like, okay, I guess. Like, that's just the progression of nature, right? So then they pick out me and this other young kid, and we got to go jump this dude. So we go and jump him. First time I've ever really been maced. Like, the first time I got maced, they sprayed me in the head, and it was like MK something, like MK40. Not that bad. Wash it off, whatever. This time they came in with fire hydrants. And it just, because you're in max now. So now they're like, okay, now these are the hardened inmates. So they just opened the bean slot to this unit and just a fire hydrant of spray, of this orange OC spray.
Well, because you jumped somebody? Who did you jump?
Another Sereno dude. He, drama within the group. He ended up not being knocked. They said he was no good, that we had to jump him. Turns out it was just drama, and they just wanted him jumped for no reason. So we just beat the shit out of this dude for no reason.
Right.
And afterwards, he was super cool about it. And he was like, no hard feelings. You're just doing what you're doing. And he's like, good for you. Like, keep it up. You're going to do good in here. And because in their mindset, this dude, he was causing drama within multiple prison systems for the Serenos out in like a federal prison. So there's so much drama. And if one person decides that they have beef with you, they'll just have you beat up.
Right.
So that's really what it boiled down to, was he beefed with someone that he shouldn't have. And they were like, yeah, beat him up. So they spray us. I mean, just dump. I mean, I always look like an Oompa Loompa, head to toe orange. And they have an hour to decomp you. So they pull out the victim first, the dude getting beat up. Right away. And then they leave me and this other kid.
For an hour dripping in mace.
Oh, my God. Our skin is on fire. Then they pick you up, and the cops are just like, the sergeant was cool. He's like, open your eyes. And I was like, nah, F you, dude. I can't open my eyes. Like, they're on fire right now. Freaking snot and just everything's running. It just, you can't breathe. It hurts. It feels like this sunburn on your skin. I have a horrible sunburn right now. But so he's like, open your eyes. You got to flush them out. You got to flush them out. I'm like, screw you, dude. You're trying to mess with me. He's like, I'm telling you right now, I've been doing this 15 years. Open your eyes. Finally open them, get them to flush. And then they take you to a shower and they give you 1 minute to decomp in a hot shower. Hot or cold, you choose. I was like, cold. He's like, no, you want to open your pores. Hot, opens the pores, gets the OC spray out of the pores. It's going to burn really bad. He's like, but get ready. Fully clothed, cuffed behind the back. They just stick you under a shower for 1 minute. Let that water run over you, pull you out, and throw you in a cell. Here's dry clothes. Here's a towel. Then you bird bath. So you're just scrubbing that OC spray off you for about a week. I mean, you can't sleep.
If you sleep hot at night, you know how disruptive that can be. Whether you're having trouble falling asleep, you're waking up sweating in the middle of the night, or all of the above. That's where Ghost Bed can help. As the makers of the coolest beds in the world, Ghost Bed is your go-to for cooling mattresses, cooling pillows, and cooling bedding. From their signature Ghost Ice fabric to patented technology that adjusts to your body's temperature, every Ghost Bed mattress is designed with cooling in mind. So whether you want a plusher mattress that cushions your shoulders and hips, or a firm option with exceptional support, your Ghost Bed will keep you cool and comfortable all night long. When you purchase a Ghost Bed mattress, your comfort is guaranteed. You can try out your mattress for 101 nights, risk-free, to make sure it's the right fit for you. Plus, they offer free shipping, and most items are shipped within 24 hours. If you're not sure which Ghost Bed is right for you, check out their mattress quiz. You'll answer a few questions and get a personalized recommendation. Even better, our listeners can get 50% off site-wide for a limited time. Just visit ghostbed.com/Cox and use the code COX at checkout. Again, that's ghostbed.com/Cox with the code COX at the checkout to save a whopping 50% off site-wide.
If you lay on one side too long, the spray inside your pores just lights up. It just is the worst excruciating. I was like, this is stupid. I should never. As soon as they were like, stop, that's when everyone should stop. And then they charge you for it. So you get a bill in the mail. It's like $160 for every can they had to use. They bill you.
Right.
So not only did you spray me, now I'm in the hole, and now you're sending me a bill. I was like, what the damn? Which I deserved it. So then now I'm in the most trouble I could be in prison. IMSI, fighting. So they say, well, now you're an issue, so you're going to ADSEG, administrative segregation. 23-hour lockdown, allowed out for an hour. So I did a year of that. And that was actually the best time in prison I've ever done.
Right.
I mean,
I was gonna say everybody's like, oh, I was in the shoe for 18 months. It was horrible. I was in the shoe for not 18 months, but for like 45 days one time, and it was great. Like it was, I had my own cell. We didn't have to take a cellie.
So and then
I got to read all the time.
Different part. I had a TV.
Oh hell! If I had a TV, you wouldn't get me back to the
You're
unit.
in ad saying so for the first 60 days I didn't have a TV because I'm in trouble. So they take all your property. But then after 60 days, you get your TV, you get your hot pot, you get.
There's in federal prison like
I know,
no
they didn't
TV,
have TVs.
there's no nothing.
See, that's crazy. You guys didn't have. But I mean, we're spending $400 on a 13-inch
Right.
clear flat screen, and then I got out and there's a 75-inch TV for the same $400. Tell me those prisons aren't making.
Yeah, they're making a ton of money.
Oh my gosh. And so yeah, I did a year in there. And by this point, especially if you're clicked up and you're trying to gangbang, I mean, they look at you, they look at it as like you've made it now because now you're an ADSEG. So that's all the big homies. I mean, that's the big gang members from the Serenos, the Norteños, the Aryan Knights, the SVC. That's the big homies. You know what I mean?
You do understand what people are going to do to you in the comments because you're just, when you're trying, when you're trying, when you're trying to gangbang, like
this is
bro,
what it is.
Like, look at you.
I know. That's crazy. I know.
I mean, this is insane.
Listen. I'll send you the picture. I'll send you the picture where it's me and literally all of the big homies forced.
You look like you walk out of a prep school.
In Max.
I mean,
listen, in Max. No, I'm also not Mexican.
Yeah.
I'm Italian. So that was a whole other issue. That was a whole other issue. Is I get in there, the Aryan Knights.
It's like, and even Alex. Like, I mean, it might as well be Kip. Get Kip down here, man. Kip, take care of this, man. Like, what? It's just not.
Listen, one thing led to another, and all of a sudden it was like,
it
fuck.
What makes me think of Malibu's Most Wanted.
That's what people used to say that.
Well, and he also looked like Justin Bieber, like young Justin
Yeah,
Bieber.
I mean, you saw I sent you mugshots, didn't I?
I mean,
You'll have to.
it was.
I'll have to pull them up, and I'll have to show you. And then the picture of me, and so like,
I can't believe they would want you in the gang. I'd be like we can't do this. This is damaging
so
our
the issue, our cred. Damn. So the issue was at first it was my homie little Joe pulled me up, and he's like, "You're supposed to make us look good." He's like, "Don't do drugs, don't get in fights, and get your GED." And he's like, make the homies look good, make us look like we're not pieces of shit.
Right.
But then I was like, well, I like to do drugs and I don't want to get my GED. So then he's like, yeah, but if you want to do drugs, then you got to fight. So like, are you okay with fighting? And I was like, no, I don't want to fight. So then, but they all led to that anyways, because I wanted to do drugs. And I did get my GED though. I did do that. So hold on. I was high.
There you go.
But I did do that. And so I was able to do that. That was good. Yeah, no, I get that the stories just don't make sense, do they?
No, I mean,
you can. And here's the crazy part. My DORs in prison definitely don't make sense. If you got the reports of me in prison, you'd be like, this, what? You'd be like, what? It's just because if.
I can imagine SIS when you first got to federal prison reading your state prison report, and then you walk in the room, they're like, no, we're
looking for an adult?
We're looking for Gruber.
Yeah.
This is not.
Oh, yeah.
This is.
No, when I walked in the room, they were like, you're going to have to watch this video twice. This is the Priya video. And like, everyone was like, dude, be careful. There was no when I was there. And like,
no, people always say that to me. Like, I do remember, really, I was in the U.S. Marshals holdover. There was I'm assuming it was may have been attempted. I don't know. But other than that, going to prison, like, there's too many gay guys in prison.
Yeah. There's no one.
Guys just giving it up.
Yeah.
So.
There's no one needs to, because there was one when I was there and a kid wouldn't shower. Dude serving life. His cellie wasn't getting out. His cellie, young kid came in, wouldn't shower, wouldn't clean the cell. His cellie, dude serving life, took it as disrespect. So how's he going to disrespect the kid disrespecting him?
Right.
Take his ass.
Right.
Everyone was like, whoa, that's an intense way of like that's not okay. And that was the only, and the gay sex, I mean, that happens all the time. That's right. And that, my wife's always like, oh, you did some weird stuff in there. I'm like, no. For one, that was the gangs back in the day, I guess they used to do that stuff. But then I guess in the early 2000s, they changed. And so like you'd be in there and all these older guys would be like, you used to fuck dudes back in the day. And they're like, no, I would never do that. I just watched. I just stood watch, made sure the COs didn't catch him. And I was like, if you're stand and watch, You were participating, you old fucking. Grandpa George was his name. We used to talk a lot of crap to him. He's gonna die in there. But so AdSeg, learned a lot there. Got out of AdSeg, and so a funny story there. So we were only allowed to have the phones for 1 hour 4 times a week. My wife hates this story. So 1 hour 4 times a week. The COs usually didn't care. They would let you have it for longer. So you had to put in a slip. They'd give you the phone, and you'd put it in for the second at 1 p.m. They would give it to you at 1, take it at 2. Most COs didn't care. They'd let you hold on to it. There was this one chick. She's probably like 5 foot. Just started there in AdSeg, and she was evil. At 2 o'clock, like after your hour, she'd come take it. So my homie was like, hey, just get naked. When she comes to take it next time, just strip down naked and act like you're pleasuring yourself. Start, you're in a cell by yourself. He's like, she's not going to stop. She's not going to try to take it. And I'm like, that's a good idea. So I do that. I mean, I take my watch off. I take everything off. I'm standing over the toilet. I got the phone in my ear. I'm not even on the phone. She walks to that window, bangs on the door, and looks me dead in the eyes. And she's like, give me the phone. And I'm sitting there like, excuse me? I was like, really? Like right now?
I'm in the middle of something.
She's like, give me the phone. Hang up and give me the phone. I was like, are you? And I was like, are you serious? Like, really? And she's like, you know what? I'm going to go get another CO. Storms out, gets a male CO. He comes in laughing his ass off. And he's like, dude, are you serious right now? You were butt naked, dick in hand, sitting there. And I was like, dude, she is evil. Like, she will not. I've never had a lady look me dead in the eyes while you're doing that and be like, give me the phone. He was like, he thought it was the funniest crap ever. He left me the phone. He was like, you know what? You can hold on to it for a little bit. And I was like, thank you. But there was a lot of cool COs too. Like, I mean, I had great interactions with some staff. There was a lot of dicks. But after that, AdSeg, I didn't get in too much trouble there. There's nothing really you could do to get in trouble. Get out of AdSeg. Get back to GP, and at this point, all my homies are like, "Oh, you gonna start doing stuff again?" Fat girl left, big girl left. She went to AdSeg. She was like, I can't do this anymore here in AdSeg. I was like, whatever.
What happened to the big girl that was coming to visit you?
She dipped out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I went to AdSeg, and once you start getting in trouble and you're going to the hole, visits get taken.
Yeah.
Phone calls get taken, so then all of a sudden
they're just it's 3 months, 6 months, a year.
Yeah,
and
she's
you're
upset.
You're just gone. Like you're just
and so she quit talking to me. But then I got on Rider Prisoner. Have you ever heard of that?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So get on there. That does really good. Made a lot of money off there. I mean, girls from all over the world. I'd write me at that point. And
have you ever seen the TikToks with the girls? They're girls that you ever seen these? I don't know why they show up on mine, but where you seen them where it's a girl and the girls are clearly sitting in the unit. You can see it's like a two-tier unit, and the girls are like, "Hey, my name's Jennifer."
So a lot of those videos are Ada County.
They're like, "I fuck on the first date. Here, my reg number's 407." It's like, what?
That's our prison, IDOC. A lot of those videos are coming out of IDOC. They started a freaking Instagram page for the inmates where they'll record them off the kiosk in there and post their video on Instagram for them.
It's hilarious. It's hilarious.
It's wild.
And the girls say just insane shit.
And guys are writing them.
Yeah.
I mean, I got...
Guys are in the comments like, I can fix this girl.
Oh.
She just needs a good man.
But that's a lot of those girls think the same thing. So like...
Oh, I'm sure she said these girls. I
had a girl from
guys.
the UK writing me, a stripper from Arizona, a chick from New York. And I mean, each one of them would send me money.
Yeah.
And you're just like,
this is nuts. Like, what's wrong with you? But please send me $100.
Yeah, hook it up, And they all think you're gonna freaking be together when you get out. But so I get out of AdSeg and I was like,
did you ever see that? I forget. It was like Love, whatever.
Love After Lockup.
No, this was like, it's a documentary, and there's a guy in there who. There's lots of guys that are dating women, but this one guy who's, I don't know if I wouldn't say he was good looking, but he's definitely better looking than the chick. This chick's got to be 100 pounds overweight easily. She's doesn't look good. And she wants to get married. And so and he's behind the glass, and the interviewer is like, "So you're in love?" He's like, "Sure." And they're like, "She wants to get married. You gonna marry?" He's like, "Yeah." And what does he say? That they're like, you're gonna be getting out in a year. Are you planning on like staying with her? And he's like, Yeah, whatever. Like he's just, you could just tell, and she's
It's so horrible.
It's
though.
horrible. Like the woman is sitting there, and she's just like
They're in love.
It's like, what do you like? But you know, this guy's not staying with you. You're sending him $500 a month, and you're coming to visit him and buying him stuff out of the vending machine.
She was sending me. She would bring this stuff to visiting. I'm making a ridiculous amount. I would go back on the tier, make a bunch of money, and then still I would call her and be like, "Yeah, I just need money on the books this week." And, and then she'd send me money, and I'm like, "What the hell?" Like, not only are you committing a felony or multiple felonies, you're still sending me money. They end up believing whatever they want to believe. I guess whatever you tell them.
These have to be TikToks because you understand.
This is horrible.
People just roast.
Oh yeah, this is gonna be horrible. So.
This is horrible.
Oh, we can. So we can talk about tattoos later, and I gotta. Yeah, we can.
You have a tattoo over there? I got your
No, I got a dick tattoo. I got in there.
Oh my.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh,
I got some dumb
God.
tattoos, but you ought to make a TikTok.
What about the guys that get like they'll put like pearl? What do they call that?
Oh yeah, we tried that. That shit. A pearl in your dick. Yeah, that's
these
scary.
guys will put stuff in their shit. And listen, this one guy swelled up.
Yeah.
Like a fucking, and guys are like, bro, you got to go to you. And he said, no, I don't want to go. I'll get a shot. Get a shot. You're gonna lose your shit. What are you doing?
I was so scared when so it turned black.
Yeah. Like, oh my God.
And I was like, I'm gonna lose it. This is it.
Oh, these guys are putting like they're putting
they'll
like
take dominoes, sand them down until they're beads because it's the porcelain. You have to use porcelain,
or they'll make them into like a cross.
Yeah, little designs or a heart.
Like they got a charm bracelet. Yeah. They're building a charm bracelet.
What they do is they pinch the skin, fold it over, make a slice, and when you let go, the skin goes back, and they created a pocket so you could slide that bead in there,
push it in, and then
they were doing this. They were doing this on my rider. Dudes were doing this on my rider.
So I mean, like he's a Christian.
I almost did it.
He's a Christian, so he's got a star. He wants to buy a house when he gets out, or he was in real estate.
He wants $1.
Give me a $sign.
Dudes would get dollar signs. Dudes would get dollar signs tattooed on their dick just so they could be like, "Oh, you want to blow money?" And I'm like, "That's." I mean, mine's dumb too, but the beads. There was. Dudes would slit their tongues. My cellian at one point I did a program in AdSeg to get out early. Didn't work out. But dude slit his tongue with a razor blade. And when I was in his cell, he was like, I think I need to slit it a little bit longer. And so and at one point I was like, you know what, I'm going to do that too. And then I was like, you know what, no, I'm not doing that. It looks like it hurts. Tattoos were the furthest thing I did with bodily harm and mutilation in there. And that was, I mean, prison. Stupid. Huh? Back of my head, I got my mom's name on the back of my neck. Just dumb tattoos. Yeah.
I bet she was proud.
She actually was. She does like that one. And I'm going to remove that. My mom loves that one. She's so proud of that. It's pretty trashy. It's pretty trashy. But so.
What was it? Boziak got ghetto white boy.
Did he really?
On his stomach, and he says to the guy, "I want you to pick the most white trash font you have and tattoo ghetto white boy on my fucking stomach."
He's got a lot of tattoos though, that dude.
It's insane.
Eventually, I'll get more. But then AdSec came to a wrap a year in there. They kicked me out. Oh, that's an Amber Alert going off, huh?
Yeah, missing child or something.
I felt that going off in my pocket. No, we can get to that too. My dad ended up kidnapping a kid. Not kidnapping, borrowed. He borrowed a child. He borrowed. When I was like 14, my dad thought he was a tattoo artist.
Oh my God. He tattooed his 14.
Out of what? No. Out of my fucking helicopter, my remote control helicopter I just bought. I bought like a fucking, those big ones.
Yeah.
And I was flying it in the house. And he's like, no, dude, get that outside. Go outside with it, whatever. End up leaving, come home, and it's broken. And I'm like, Dad, what the fuck, dude? My helicopter. And he's like, oh, I wanted to see how high it could fly. I was like, what do you mean? And he's like, I just flew it straight up until it disappeared. And then it came back down and exploded on the ground. And he's like, but now we got this motor, so let's make a tattoo gun. And I was like, that's a great idea. We sharpened a guitar string. He took a piece of guitar string off of the guitar he had. This is 2012 to 11.
This is the stuff that inmates do, not that you can go. You can go in. You just go to a tattoo. Go to a tattoo.
He bought Indian ink. He bought Indian ink from a hard. We went to a hobby craft store and bought Indian ink instead of buying tattoo ink. Sharpened guitar string. Bought Indian ink, it sticks. It's instead of using like soot and stuff in a lot of prisons, they used to allow Indian ink, and then they took it away because of the tattoos. I can show you real quick. So this tattoo, he had a manila envelope from when he was in prison, and he had some of the stencils from the tattoos he did. And so we're going through it, and I was like, that looks like a great idea. It was supposed to be a Viking.
So you're getting it removed, or it's just faded over?
No, I'm getting it removed. Stupid.
Yeah, it's not.
No, but
it's not good.
At 14, I thought I was fucking cool. And they ended up good. Afterwards, he did tattoos on people that ended up like good tattoos. This was a fifth of tequila. I was drinking Burnett's vodka, and his girlfriend was making out with my neck as he was tattooing it. And I was like, if my dad finds out, he's going to beat the shit out of me. So, like, I couldn't move because if he saw her making out with my neck, then he would snap on me. So I was like, I'll just sit here and fucking take it. Yeah. Then I had a tattoo that I thought was the coolest thing ever.
All right, so what are we doing now?
Yeah, go for it.
I
I don't care about anything. So AdSeg. So now I'm in AdSeg a year. Coming close to an end. Thought, I don't know. And coming out of AdSeg, you come out with like, oh, I'm freaking tough. I'm hot shit now. Because that's how they view it in prison. You've made it to AdSeg. You're coming back. And this is actually the time. So I come back. I get a job in laundry with CO Flowers. I'm going to throw him out there because this is the CO I tried to bribe and he ends up getting me in trouble. Get a job in laundry making 30 cents or 28. It was the best job in the prison at the time was laundry. He was super cool with me. So he was like, you know what? I'm going to give you a chance, Gruber. Just out of AdSeg. We're walking through the hall one day and I decided to try to bribe him. Next thing you know, I'm getting taken to the hole, spending 30 days in the hole for trying to bribe a cop. I was like, no, it was a joke. I wasn't being serious. They were like, you know what? In this situation, we really don't know with you. So they were like, we're not going to take you back to max because you really could have been joking. So I was like, yeah. They kicked me out. At this point, I don't have my big girl anymore that was bringing me in stuff. She kicked me to the curb because she was, it's hard. So I was like, dang, I still got to get stuff in here. So I link up with two people and I'm like, your guys' girlfriends are going to bring it in. You guys each get one balloon out of the three, whatever. So then that works out for a little bit. And then one of them gets busted, bringing it in. And I mean, one of the dudes is serving 20 years fixed and 20 years indeterminate. So 20 years in prison, 20 years on parole.
Right.
He's 40-something years old, just got sentenced. So he, no matter what, is not going to have a parole hearing until he's like 70 years old.
Right.
You would think.
60, but that's fine.
But he was like late 40s, so close.
Oh, okay.
He's going to be like almost 70, you know what I mean? So I thought if he gets busted, no way he's going to rat.
Right.
The other dude, I mean, both these guys are gangsters, gang members. So in my mind, no one's going to rat. Everyone rats. So gets busted, bringing it in. Right away, the girlfriend rats. The wife of one of the guys is on probation. She's a felon, has a gun in her car, gets caught bringing dope into the prison, crystal, and she gets 5 years, 1 + 4. So they all get busted really quickly. They all rat on each other. I'm the only one that no one talks to at first. So I'm like, that's cool. I mean, they have nothing on me. The only thing I did was, and so by this point, I'm not bringing it anymore. So now I'm having people drop it off. So I'm making the phone calls being like, hey, I need a pair of white shoes dropped off here. I need a pair of black, whatever here. Calling my sister, hey, arranging things to be dropped off in specific colors, which is not smart.
Right.
Come to find out. So it all comes crashing down. I'm sitting there in prison. I'm supposed to have a visit with my mom one day. And they call me over the intercom. They're like, Mr. Gruber, you have someone here for you. And I was like, oh, I'm going to the dentist. I'm like, cool. And they're like, no, Ada County Jail's here. Ada County Sheriff's Department is at the prison for you. I was like, that doesn't make any sense. What the hell? So they take me to Ada County Jail. And I get booked in for introduction of contraband into facility. And I was like, well, what the hell? Everyone ratted on me. So they're hitting me with introduction of contraband in facility, which is max 5 years. So I'm coming close to an end out of this point of the 5 years. I'm now like 4.5 years in to my 5-year sentence. Well, the Ada County judge tells me there's no point of giving you a bond because you're in prison. So we're going to give you a $10,000 bond. whatever, you're in prison. I have 45 days until I get out or something. Go to court, get the bond, go back. During this, my mom was supposed to come visit me, so I tell my cellie, I said, hey, call my mom and tell her that I went to the dentist. I can't come. She can't come to visit. And he's like, yeah, okay. That's going to work. He calls my mom, tells her. The next day, I go get, they post my mugshot online. I get booked into Ada County Jail. Next day, I call my mom, and she's screaming at me. I mean, just bloody murder. Because her friend saw the mugshot and said, hey, isn't your son in prison? Why is he getting booked into Ada County Jail? So that's just hell. Screaming at me, yelling at me, I'm done visiting you. This is the last phone call you'll ever have with me. She's been visiting me every Saturday for 5.5 years, bringing a roll of quarters. And I'm like, shoot, I done screwed up. So
no more hamburgers on Saturdays.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I convince her that it's a misunderstanding and she needs to come talk to me. Because at this point it is. At this point, it's two dudes got busted bringing drugs in and they're saying that I had a part of it. I didn't have a part of it. The charge is introduction into a facility. That's an easy charge to beat because I did not introduce drugs into a facility.
Right.
So in my logic at this point is I can take it to trial and win. If I lose, they hit me with 5 more years. I just did 5, whatever. So I convinced her, you got to come to visiting. I'll explain everything in person. These are recorded phone calls. I can't talk about it over the phone call. Fuck your phone call. She comes. She's bawling her eyes out. And she tells me this is the last visit you'll ever see me. I have a buddy in visiting being like, no, just listen to the story. It's going to be okay. Trying to do some sketchy Mexican Southsider. And my mom's like, shut the fuck up. And I'm like, shut the fuck up. Like, this is not helping the situation there, buddy. Yeah. Tattoos on his face and crap. I convinced her that it wasn't what it seemed that at the time, because at the time I thought there's no way they could charge me.
Right. Oh, they've already charged you, but there's no way they can convict you.
Yeah, there's no way they can convict me of introduction of contraband into a facility because I did not introduce anything.
Right.
So then she's still like, screw you, I'm done seeing you. And I was like, it's fair. So then I go to court again before I get out and they change the charge to conspiracy to introduce. But it's still only 5 years because now it's 2 or more people conspiring to introduce into a facility. Still only max 5 years. So I asked my attorney, and at this point I have a public defender. He's an old man. He's about 80 years old, and he stutters horribly. And I'm like, I'm going to prison. This is it. I've been in prison for 5.5 years. I can't pay for an attorney. This poor stuttering old man goes, we need to take it to trial. And I'm like, buddy, I don't know. Like,
we need to take it. Listen, what the fuck?
I've never
take it to trial.
I've never had a public defender be like,
of course not.
We're taking this to trial.
They want you to plead.
No, not this guy. He's like, oh, buddy, we're going all the way. And I'm like, I don't know, man. And if I am like, let's go. Because the max they can hit me with at this point is 5 years. So if I take it to trial and lose, judge gets mad, 5 more years. You're going to prison. I was like, I can do it again. I got my TV. I'm set up.
There's no benefit taking a plea.
Yeah, at this point. So then all of a sudden I top out my time. Mr. Gruber, roll it up. You're going home. And I'm like, what? I am? No, Ada County Jail's here to pick you up, buddy. Dumbass. So Ada County Sheriffs are there. They act like they were going to let me out of prison into custody of Ada County Jail. And they booked me, brought me there. Sister, not this, my oldest sister, not this one, comes, half sister, bonds me out, luckily. $1,000 bond. And so now I'm out. And I just topped 5.
What about the federal time?
So I topped that during this.
Oh, okay.
So during this, I topped that. And at one point, I was able to go to a farm because finally I topped my federal time. So I got rid of the federal hold, and my points were only 3. So for about 2 weeks in my prison sentence, I was able and eligible to go to a farm.
Mm-hmm. But you kept getting all the shots and everything else.
I kept being an idiot. So lose that chance, top that. And my whole worry was, so now I'm topping out of a sentence, topping out while getting out on federal supervised release, but bonding out to fight a new felony. So I was like, how's the feds going to feel about this? So I just didn't say anything. I get out, bond out, meet with my federal supervised release officer. I didn't say anything. Didn't say I was facing charges. I was like, I'm just not going to bring it up.
Right.
So now I'm out and I'm now fighting this charge. Well, I go to court. This was actually the time my now wife goes, I hung out one day, my girlfriend and I, got her to hang out with me. She blew me off for about 4 months. Wouldn't hang out with me again. And so I used to hit her up all the time. And one day, finally, she was like, I'll go to lunch with you. And I was like, all right, but after we have court. She's like, all right, I'll go to court with you, I guess. Her. And this day they changed the charge from conspiracy to introduce to conspiracy to deliver. So I get to court. We go, one of our first dates. Then we go, it was basically, before this, yeah, we were friends. So then we go out to breakfast. Then we go to the court and I'm first. And then I have co-defendants. So I get up and my attorney tells me, well, before court, he's like, they're changing your felony. And I was like, okay, what are they changing it to? And he's like, well, if you don't take a 10-year deal, 2 + 8, they're going to hit you with the persistent violator, which is 5 to life in Idaho. It's a new felony. 3 or more felonies, persistent. 4 or more is the habitual in Idaho. So the habitual is 25 to life, persistent's 5 to life. So once you get hit with the persistent 5 to life, then after that, if you catch another felony, then it's the habitual 25 to life. So he's like, yeah, they're going to hit you with the persistent violator, 5 to life, if you don't take this 10-year deal. And if they're changing your felony now to conspiracy to deliver a schedule, whatever narcotic, crystal. And I was like, well, I mean, how much time does that hold? He's like, well, they can sentence you anywhere from 0 to life. And I was like, well, hold on. That changed pretty big dramatically from 5 years to 0 to life.
Yeah.
And he's like, and if you don't take the deal, they're going to hit you with the persistent, which is 5 years fixed and life up to life into prison. And I was like, so what's the worst case scenario? Worst case, you take it to trial, you'll lose, and you get 2 consecutive life sentences. And I'm like, well, what should we do, dude? Like, hold on. And he's like, oh, take it to trial. Take it all the way. And I'm like, okay, but at this point now.
Was he like?
Yeah, no, yeah, stuttering. Ask my wife. I was like, I'm dead. Like, it's over. Life sentences, 2 of them, we're gone. But this dude's so confident. He's like, no, they got nothing. Let's go.
But he's not saying that. He's
stuttering it.
He's stuttering.
Yes.
They got nothing.
And he's like 80 years old, gray hair, little old decrepit man. So I'm like, what is this?
You're doing this. He's doing this for something to do.
That's what. But
he doesn't need the money.
But public defenders will never take it to trial. But he's saying the only thing they have on you is, for one, 4 people that are drug addicts, 2 being in prison. The other 2 are currently drug addicts. They all got 5 years. He's like, if we get him on the stand, we can tear him apart. He's like, I'll ask for UAs. I'll do everything I can to make sure that these witnesses are discredited.
Right.
And I'm like, sweet. And he's like, the only thing they have on you is saying some really
odd shit on the phone.
Like out of line shit.
Yeah,
like, randomly, you're talking about a lot of white dresses and black. And so I'm like, okay, well, what should we do? Trial. Let's go. So I'm like, all right, let's do this. Let's go. Get up. They read off my felonies, read off the potential 2 consecutive life sentences. I have to go sit down for my co-defendant. I go sit down next to my now wife. The little old lady next to me, we're just sitting in the stands of the courtroom. She turns to me and she's like, you've been a really bad boy. I was thinking in my head, I could kill you right now. In the state of Idaho, it's 25 years. So I'm facing up to 2 life sentences. Like I could,
all right. I'd kill you and only get 25.
And get less time. So really, is that what you want to say to the kid? That's like, what the heck? I know I've been a bad boy. That's why I'm here. Whoever you're here for has been a bad boy, lady. Like, come on.
But she might be there just to watch the old guy work. I just like watch him work.
He ended up being the best attorney ever. I mean, fought his butt off. So at this point, I'm out. Federal supervised release now. Getting UA 2 to 3 times a week. I mean, doing everything I need to do. Jump through the hoops. Got a car. Got a job. Graduated my drug and alcohol counseling. Graduated from UAs. I did probation. My federal supervised release officer was like, she was also in love with me. Little short blonde chick. I mean, just the nicest lady to me. Hated my wife. Hated everyone. Anyone that was at the house but me. She'd get me into my bedroom. She'd be like, oh, let's go talk in your bedroom alone. I'm like, okay. She'd be like, oh, I just got my whole side tattooed. I'd really love to show it off. And I was like, you are just getting yourself, I don't know what the hell. I was like, what? They didn't like each other. But she was like, you were the easiest person. If everyone was as easy as you, she's like, this would be simple. And I was like, thanks. But the whole time I'm fighting this felony, have to do a PSR, I didn't tell my federal supervised release officer
that you were fighting this case.
Yeah, which I'm sure she knew.
Maybe not,
right?
Yeah.
So then I wait until the PSI for my state charge. And I tell my PSI investigator, I'm on federal supervised release. If you want to talk to anyone, to ask her her opinion. Because, a PSI, pre-sentence investigation. So I don't know. The feds, they don't really do. Did they?
Yeah.
They had a PSI officer, but they're doing for the point system, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is just it's kind of the same thing. They'll recommend what the judge should do. And in my situation, for some reason, the PSI officer recommended probation. I'd been out now a year, been fighting this charge. They offered 10 years. We turned it down. They offered a 2 + 8. No way. I was like, I'm not doing that. That's too much time. Right before trial, they came back and they offered me a 1 + 4. They said, you know what? We'll give you the same deal we gave everyone. And I said, yeah, I'll take it. I was like, 1 + 4 is not that bad. Been doing good. My attorney was like, we take it to trial. We fight. Not to trial. We take it to court, fight the judge, say, don't send him back to prison. Like, clearly he doesn't do good. But in my mind, I was like, okay, I'm going back to prison. 1 + 4. Got to get ready for that. I wasn't ready. The PSI recommended probation. My federal, I think that helped, having the federal judge or federal supervised release officer write a letter to the judge. She ended up writing a letter to my judge being like, don't send this kid back to prison.
Right.
Like, he does amazing. He does great. He's doing great. I had a letter from the dean of the Mormon church, the bishop of the Mormon church, write me a letter on Mormon letterhead. I had one of the head purchasers for Winco Foods write me.
Is this where you were working?
No, my really good buddy is one of the higher ups in Winco. So he wrote me a letter of recommendation on the Winco letterhead.
Right.
I probably shouldn't be talking about all this because I don't know if Winco knows that.
That's fine.
Yeah, they're like, hold on. I mean, they know because they deal with a lot of.
Yeah. He just said you were good. What did he say? You were a good kid.
Yeah,
a good guy.
kid.
Give him a chance.
And it turned out I was.
Yeah.
And then I just had a lot of really good things going for me when it came to court. So we went in there just expecting prison. I mean, 1 + 4, you're taking a deal.
Right.
It's rare that the judge is going to go under your deal. We get up there, the prosecuting attorney lights me up. I mean, just paints a picture of a gang member in prison, addicted to money, doesn't care about anything, doesn't care about his family, doesn't care about his life, drug addict, just
pretty accurate so far.
yeah, it was.
Right.
I mean, he painted a very accurate picture of me when I was in prison.
Right.
But me now is two different pictures, right?
Prior to prison. But I hear
and
you.
prior to prison.
But,
okay,
but
so
now it's
basically,
different. I get it. Now
my
it's different.
life up until then. So he paints, a very truthful picture of what I did in my past. And I mean, at this point, I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh, fuck. Yeah, here we go. Like, it's time to go to prison. I gave my keys to my stepdad. I was like, here you go, buddy. Like, there's by the time my mom's crying, she's like, that's not my son.
I thought she was gone.
No, because now I'm doing good. Because now I'm doing good.
I thought she was this is the last time you see me, last phone call.
So after all that, yeah. So I'm doing good now. I get out of prison. I had to pull out to her house with my new stepdad.
Oh, he must have been thrilled.
Oh no, he's never been around. He was very Christian, never been around drugs. My sister and I were the first people that were ever high around him, and he did not like that. He was did not like, yeah. So getting out of prison to live with him, I was like, this is going to be awkward. And it was awkward. Yeah. At first, it was freaking weird. And it became cool. He's more of a father to me than my father was ever a father. So in the long run, it worked out. And he helped me get my first job. He walked me into a construction company that his buddy was a manager of and was like, hey, will you hire my stepson? They gave me a chance and I busted my butt. I was able to work up until I just worked my butt off. When they gave me a chance, I was like, I will never, when it comes time to work, I like to work. I like to work with my hands. I work construction. I've done sales. I've sold technology. I've sold oil. I've done a lot of things. When it comes time to work, I just love construction. So that helped guide me in the right path of this is what you're going to do. Get a phone, get a car. I never had a phone. I never had a car. I never had a license.
All right.
So at like 25, my mom helped me get my license. I had a license for about a week, got it suspended at 18. And so then my mom helped me get it back. So then I'm driving, doing everything, working, graduate from my drug and alcohol counseling, graduate from my UAs. I did everything the feds gave me to do as quickly as possible, as perfectly as possible. So then get to sentencing. The prosecuting attorney says all those horrible things. And I was like, pretty accurate though.
Right.
Not can't argue it when it's truthful.
Yeah.
But you're like, damn, you feel defeated. They just yelled about you for the last half an hour and called you a piece of shit. So I was like, I'm going to prison. Judge gets up. My attorney fought really hard and was like, Mr. Gruber doesn't do good in prison. You can clearly see all of these incidents happen in prison. Like if you look at his track record in prison and you look at his track record now, he didn't do good. He doesn't do good in prison. And the judge took that into consideration for some reason, was like, Mr. Gruber does not do good in prison. So instead of this 1 + 4, he said, I'm going to give you a 2 + 8. And I was like, what the hold on. And he said, oh, but I forgot to tell you, I'm going to give you probation.
Right.
And I was like, okay, so hold on, what? And he's like, I don't think 5 years is enough to scare you. He's like, I think 10 years will put the fear in you. He's like, so I'm going to give you 10, 2 + 8. If you mess up on probation, I'm sending you to prison for 2 years. Then you'll go in front of the parole board and they'll decide if you get out or not. And I was like, okay. And he said for the first 90 days, so for the first 3 months, I had to check in once a month, every month at court. I'd have to go to court. He'd have a hearing for me and he'd be like, how are you doing? And I'd sit there and no attorney, just me and him, and be like, oh, I'm doing good. This is what I'm up to. And then he did that for about 3 months. And then he's like, you know what? You're fine. You're good. I have full faith in you. And so he just cut me loose and was like, I think you got this. I mean, it was emotional, that court hearing. I thought for sure, I almost cried because I was like, I didn't want to go back to prison. I'd now been out a year.
Right.
I had now built my life. I had my girlfriend. I was like, I really don't want to go back. Like, this sucks. So he didn't send me back. Probation.
Is she saying if you do go back?
No, she's like, I'm gone. Yeah, she's like, there's no sticking. She's like, no. She's like, you're tripping. Because at this point, we'd barely started dating. And like, I'm looking at a lot of time. And I don't do good in prison. So like, the odds of me going to prison and getting out after the year is very slim. I mean, it's just, I didn't have a good track record in there. And so at this point now I'm out, passed all my UAs, on state probation with federal. The federal is easy. It's a cakewalk. I've heard some of your stories about how you had a dick PO the first time.
Yeah, my first PO really was, I was also on the highest custody level, and so by the next custody level,
it was nicer.
She was very like, whatever, she could care less. Like, and they stopped, I think, and they stopped giving me UAs too. There was a whole, it was in the middle of COVID, so they stopped.
So the COVID thing kind of made everything really nice. Yeah. So if you wanted to do good during COVID on probation, you could still keep doing what you're doing. If you want to do bad, it made it perfect for people to do bad. But then it passed the people doing good. It made us look even better. Yeah. Because now they have to deal with all these shit sticks that used it as an excuse to party and do drugs. My POs were like, oh, dude, you made it so easy on us. Thank you. Like, just keep doing it. And I was like, yeah. But mine was super cool. She caught me drinking one time and was like, are you drinking? There was like empty beers. And I was like, oh, those aren't mine. She's like, okay, have a good night. And I was like, all right. And so probation was pretty easy for me. It was laxed. During COVID, I was out during COVID. So I got out May 11, 2019. So I've been out 6 years now. Got out May 11th. A year later, got sentenced to probation for the state. So at this point, I'd already been on federal for a year. So I had 2 years of federal left. And my judge told me, come back in 3.5 or come back in 4 years. And if you do good, we'll look at your probation. A couple years in, my wife and I decided we're going to get married. I asked my POs for the state and feds if I could leave to go to Mexico. They say yes. The feds, they don't care. They're like, go. I then tried to get a permission from the state, and they were like, oh, yeah, we screwed up. You have to get a judge's court order.
Mm-hmm. I was going to say, I had to get a court order to leave.
So for the state or for fed?
Federal,
my PO, I just hit her up. I was like, hey, I want to go to Mexico to get married. She's like, okay.
And I
was like,
listen, what? Every PO, I think some of them are just making shit up. Like, first of all, I had to go. You have to understand, too, I wasn't going to Mexico. I was going to Amsterdam, and I had to have a passport, and two of my charges are passport fraud.
So you weren't allowed to have a passport.
Right. So I had to go to the judge, and the judge had to say, yes, he can apply, get a passport, and leave. And she was kind of like, I don't think that's happening. Like, you have a passport fraud
I could see where they could deny you then because of the passport
fraud. But he didn't. He was like, no. It was there for work. I was going for like work to pay my. You want me to pay my restitution? You have to let me go. Let me work. Right.
So that makes. I mean, so the feds were like, yeah, you can go to Mexico. She was like, I don't care. And I was like, cool. And then the state was like,
I don't think you need a passport either for Mexico.
You do, to get back in.
Oh, really?
And so I was allowed to have a passport. I was worried the passport thing freaked me out. And I waited until got permission from my state judge to then get my passport. But by that point, I had expedited it. And I was like, oh, if anything holds up, we're screwed. And it came right through. They didn't hold anything back. But the judge, I was the first person for this. I got a new judge when I was getting sentenced to the state, which was kind of nice because he wasn't jaded
Right.
off of people coming in the rotating door of the criminal system.
Right.
So new judge, jaded, was like, oh, give you probation, gave me probation. A year later, I was like, I need to get married. He said, I've never let anyone leave the country. And at the time, I was out a year and go to this hearing. It's video court because it's during COVID. And the prosecuting attorney gets up and says, you know, we were actually thinking about violating Mr. Gruber today. And I was like, for what? Like, hold on, what the fuck? And the judge's like, hold on, Mr. Gruber, like, hold on, let him speak. Oh, Mr. Gruber owes $1,500. He's owed this $1,500 since the day he got out, and he hasn't made a single payment. And I was like, okay, for one, my attorney never told me about this. You guys have never contacted me. My PO's never contacted me. I was like, if you guys want to make this such a big deal, why hasn't anyone told me I owe you $1,500? Like, what's going on?
Right.
My judge was like, I believe that you were unaware of it. He's like, but I also believe that you owe the money. He's like, so we'll reconvene this court hearing in 2 weeks. He's like, I want to see what you can get done with this payment plan. He's like, I want to see you set up a payment plan. He's like, then we'll talk about your trip. Next day, I went down to the courthouse, dropped off $1,500.
Right.
2 weeks later, had the hearing. And he's like, so what'd you get set up? I said, well, I paid the $1,500.
Right.
He's like, what do you mean? I said, I have a receipt that shows I paid the full $1,500. I was like, I want to be done with it. And he's like, well, I guess that really doesn't, he's like, there's no reason for me to say no. He's like, I mean, that was it. And I was like, well, then can I go? And he's like, oh yeah. He's like, I'm going to approve you going to Mexico. I was like, hey, heck yeah. All right, sweet. Went to Mexico, got married, had a great time coming back into America. The Border Patrol, they are not nice.
Right.
As soon as I hit Texas, handed my passport. Oh, you got permission to leave the country?
Yeah.
Yeah. We got a code red.
Right.
I was like, well, what do you mean a code red? Two more, I'm with my wife and her dad. 2 more border agents come over. You're going to have to come with us, sir. I was like, for what? What do you mean I have to come with you guys? And do you have permission to leave the country? Are you allowed to exit, enter? I was like, yeah, it's all right here on my phone. Oh, you need to put your phone in your pocket right now. I was like, yeah, but the permission for me to leave is right here. The lady looked at me and said, put your phone in your fucking pocket right now. I'm not going to ask you again. And I was like, I'm sorry, ma'am. Like, sorry. They pull me in an interrogation room. I mean, dudes were, Border Patrol's dirty. It's a dirty interrogation room. Like, it's not nice. And like, there's people from the Middle East. There's a lot of people in this room. Dude's yelling, I've been here 18 hours. I want to know what is going on. I'm like, oh God, I'm never getting out of here. I'm like, this is horrible. 20 minutes. That's all it took. They were like, you got permission? I was like, yes, sir. Here it is. All right. You got drugs, bombs, alcohol? Nope. All right, leave. I was like, that was it? That all of this? Just ask me 3 questions. Yeah. All right. Have a good day. I was like, that was so stupid. I haven't been stopped since, though, by Border Patrol. But got out and then got married. Still do. I've done pretty good the whole time. I've never had any slip-ups, never relapsed.
Did you get off probation?
Yeah. So 3.5 years into it, I petitioned my judge. So my attorney, the old man at this point, is retired, which sucked. So then I go to petition the courts to get off early, and I try to hit at my attorney, and the public defender's office is like, he retired. I was like, no, what the fuck? No, there's no way. He's the best attorney ever. They gave me some lady, and she was just stupid. She's like, oh, you're not getting off. I was like, yeah, I don't care what your opinion is at this point. Like, just put in the paperwork because I want to go in front of my judge. My judge and I had a really good relationship.
Right.
Like, I would get up on the stand because after I got sentenced for those 3 months I had to go back in, I would go in there and BS with him. And so I'd go in there and be like, yeah, I mean, I really want to get into sales. I love selling stuff. Clearly, you could tell. And he'd get a kick out of me talking about selling drugs. And he got a kick out of me being an honest person with him up there, just BSing with him.
Right.
So now I know I have to go to try to get off early. I was like, just put in the paperwork so I can get in front of him and I can talk to him. No, I don't think it's a good idea. I was like, I don't care. So I ended up having to file in it myself with his clerk's office, email his clerk's office, file it, get put on the docket, get in front of him. And of course, prosecuting attorney, he shouldn't get off. He's a freaking menace to society, ex-drug dealer. And the judge looked at me and he's like, what have you been up to? We BS'd for a minute. And he said, so the officer that was in the courtroom that day was a deputy at Ada County Jail when I was 18. So I see him, he sees me. He's looking at the paperwork, reads my name, looks at me, and I'm like, hey. Court gets put on to a recess. I go up to him. I'm like, hey, man, what's up? And we're sitting there BSing. I'm like, oh, here's my wife. Introduce my wife to him. And he's like, you were such a shit stick. He's like, oh, my gosh. He's like, I would never forget you. He's like, you caused trouble. You were just a menace. And he's like, to see you doing good is just so amazing. And we're sitting there BSing, and then it's my turn to go to court. And before the judge could say anything, that officer said, you know what, Your Honor, is there any chance I can have a second to speak? And the judge was like, yeah, of course. And he said, when Mr. Gruber was 18 years old, he came into our jail. And I watched him just destroy. I mean, he was a maniac. He didn't care about authority, just didn't care about rules, just wanted to get in trouble, be a shit stick. And to see him all these years later, he's now 30 years old. He's standing in front of me, trying to get off probation early. He's like, this is amazing. He's like, this is what I want to be a deputy for. This is why I want to be a deputy, just to see this change. And I was like, oh, that's cool. He shakes my hand. And then the judge was like, usually I put people on minimum security for at least a year, minimum security probation. Mm-hmm. And he's like, I'm not even going to do that. And he's like, come up here, shake my hand, and get out of my courtroom. And I was like, what? Like, what do you mean? And he's like, yeah, come up here, shake my hand, and get out. And I was like, yeah, but what do I do? Like, what? I was like, what do I do? And he's like, Alex, come here, walk up here, shake my hand, and leave. You're free. And that was it. He was like, you're done. And I got off. From 18 until freaking 28. Yeah, but then I was on probation for the next 3.5 years, 4 years.
Yeah.
So it's all about 28.
She's always ready to correct you, I noticed.
Oh, yeah.
It's like the big sister,
No, that one was my wife that corrected me, not my big sister.
Oh, okay. Oh, I thought
they're both ready to. No, they're both on point ready to.
Yeah, both of them were sitting there, the sisters, the whole time.
Waiting for me to screw something up, huh? Yeah. And so, but yeah, the judge specifically said, you don't do good in prison.
Right.
He's like, so do good out here.
Stay out of prison. That might be a.
And that's one, after watching your videos, I have wanted to go back and talk to him and be like, dude, why did you give me the chance? Because there was zero reason. If I was a judge and that same kid was in front of me, I would have sent him to prison. I mean, you're a gang member in prison. You just do drugs. You bring drugs into prison. Like, there was never once in my criminal career where I was like, I should stop doing this. Even in prison, I was doing it. And then they're sentencing me for a charge that I picked up in prison.
Right.
I want to be like, why did you give me a chance there, guy?
Yeah, you could write that letter. He's probably playing golf right now. He
doesn't
want
care.
you to stop by. Probably doesn't want you to stop by his house. Probably have to write a letter.
Yeah.
I've thought about writing my judge a letter.
I've watched you.
Yeah.
It'd be cool to interview him. I don't think they can.
I don't know if he. It's funny. Even though I would like to write that letter, and even though I'm sure in his mind he's like, oh well, you straightened out, you did the right thing. In my mind, they still feel like they're here and you're here, and it will always be a, that condescending.
Yeah, but you got screwed.
Feel. I mean, I definitely feel like I think that my initial sentence should have been probably
insane.
It should have been 10 years.
Yeah.
But the economy's crashing. I had a prosecutor that I've never spoken with anybody that didn't say she hated fraudsters. I mean, and to a degree that it was like, what are you know what I'm saying? Like, it was just outrageous.
Yeah.
And everybody that got up, every guy I met that had been sentenced, that she was a U.S. attorney on their case, all of their attorneys were like, oh no, you don't understand. She's the absolute worst. Like, everybody across the board was like, she makes it seem like she feels like you guys are murderers, just waiting. You may not have murdered anybody yet, but you will. Like you're just the worst person in the world. And I think my attorney had told me what happened was one of her first cases was a fraud case that involved the Russian mob, and they in the middle of a trial or the whole proceeding, they had her poisoned.
Oh,
and she ended up in the hospital. And
that'll give it jaded.
Yeah, she's always had medical issues or something.
You're
after
like,
that.
I'm not gonna poison you,
right? But
and that was the Russian mob.
You put a bad taste in her mouth.
I feel like she should have been taken off cases at that point.
You would think that, and just like you'd think like the whole, when you have judges and people are like, oh, there's a conflict of interest with this judge. Most judges will be like, well,
I don't care.
I think I can be neutral in this whole thing.
And they're not.
I can be impartial. So I'm not going to take myself there. Like, Your Honor, like, you invested in the Ponzi scheme that this guy ran, and now you're
screwed
the
out of your
judge
money."
in his trial. And he's like, yeah, I feel like I can be impartial. It's like, I don't think so. And they're
No.
like, nah, I'm going to stay. And you're like, the fuck's going on? Like, that is the definition
Of impartial.
yeah, exactly, of a conflict.
Your money got taken.
And so it's just, there's so many times that, people watch Law and Order and they think that this is the way it works. And the truth is,
It's not.
it's not the way it works.
No,
It's-
and they set their own rules.
yeah, they're sitting outside of a door. Well, we can't go in. We have to try and get a warrant. We have to. The truth is, it's like, I think I hear that they walk up, they go, I thought I heard someone scream. Bam! They kick the door in.
Well, and like even the funniest part is I always thought, I mean, the prison system, everyone, I'm going to talk about the prison system for a second because everyone talks about it being helpful. And Idaho, they sent me there to get rehabilitation. And everyone,
That's what it says on the website.
Yeah, and when I talk about the drug use in prison, they're like, there's drugs in prison?
Yeah,
What do you mean? Never once, I don't think, even the counselors in there gave a crap.
No, nobody. Yeah, listen, nobody gets to the top of their field and ends up working in a prison system.
Then what the hell are we doing?
Right. Well, I mean, I don't know that I hate it when guys say like, oh, it's all for money. It's a money making thing. Well, I mean, I'm not saying people aren't making money. There's
Private prison system is a money making scheme.
Right. And look, the guards, the COs that are there, it's for the majority of the time, for the amount of money they make, it's an easy job. In federal, I don't know about state. Like state, I think they get paid crap.
Oh, like $17 an hour.
Yeah, but in federal, these guys are making, they're getting hired at like $30,000-$40,000 a year. So you don't have to have a high school diploma.
Yeah,
you can be.
It's the retirement they're after.
You have like a year or two to get your high school diploma. So you can go to work there, make let's say $40,000 a year, and then very quickly you can be making $50,000-$60,000 with overtime. After 5 or 6 years, these guys are making $80,000 to $100,000. You have a GED that you got 2 years after you got the job. You go in your office, close the door, you count fucking 3 times a day. Like you have almost no interaction with the fucking inmates. Like it is such a joke of a job. The big problem is if you say, well, they'll say it's a hard job. It is a hard job in the sense that it's boring. It's boring with moments of excitement, but for the most part,
it's boring.
It's boring for them. And I think that and they don't care. They want to go to work. They want to come home. They want to collect a check.
I mean, I met some cool COs.
That's what I was gonna say.
They really don't care, and they're like
20% of them are cool. 80% they've got a power trip. You know what I'm saying? Like you feel like they got bullied.
The numbers are that big, but the power trip one.
Yeah.
Those numbers.
Even if it's skewed, even if it's 80-20, I don't think it's 80-20, but I'd say it's more like 20% are okay.
Yeah,
I like
20%
the guards,
are okay. But then there's
go there.
There's like 20% that are just there for a check, and then like 20% that, I mean, kind of care as long as you're not hurting people. They're like, don't get tattoos, don't do stupid crap. But then there's the 60% that are like, you picked on me in high school. Mm-hmm. Or your type of people picked on me in high school, so now I'm going to take it out on all of you.
I'm going to make you miserable. It's my job to make you miserable.
And those ones are the worst.
Yeah. But I don't think that for the most part, there are staff or counselors or unit managers. I don't think that for the majority of those people who are there supposedly to help you try and get back on track.
Sounds good.
Yeah, they don't give a shit.
No,
so
they
the
don't
majority
care.
They don't care. They don't give a shit. Fuck you. And in a way, the real problem is I think that maybe in the first couple of years they do feel like.
But then they watch the revolving door.
They watch
the inmates coming through.
So what happens is like most programs in prison, the inmates ruin it. Right? So they would introduce a program and it'd be great for 6 months and the inmates would figure out some way to manipulate it or ruin or steal from the program and then they shut the program down. Why? Because you guys ruined it. And the truth is they do ruin it. Yeah. The inmates ruin it.
I mean, we're really good at ruining everything they give us.
But I think if you go to prison, if you really bust your ass, you can come up with a plan and you can kind of, you can kind of fix yourself in prison, but it's really up to you.
I mean, you have to want. I mean, you have to want it because there's prison. There's plenty of chances to get in trouble.
Yeah,
I mean, from gangs to drugs to playing cards. I mean, I've watched people get smashed out over freaking debts of poker or pinochle or spades. It's like,
I've guys from I watched a guy get beat up with a lock and a sock or a belt, lock and a belt, because he didn't return a Hood novel. So I mean, he was supposed to return a Hood. He's like, yeah, he lent it to another guy. The guy lost it. I don't know where it is. And the guy was like, okay, well, you owe me this much money. He's like, well, I just lost the book. What's the big deal? I'm not going to pay you this much money. Go fuck yourself. And the guy went and got a lock and caught him in his room and brah, 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 brah. I was like, this is an $11 book.
and one of the, so AK, we don't have too many Aryan organizations in Idaho. We have the Aryan Knights, AK. One of their main dudes wouldn't stop fucking dudes.
Oh,
and they were like, they were like, dude, you got to stop. And he was like, no, I've been doing this since the 70s. Like, you guys aren't going to tell me to stop. So they stabbed him 17 times with a freaking screw. And like, they shit on the screw, go out there and stab him 17 times. And I'm like, what the over that? And so they're like, well, he's no good now. And he's like, I don't care. I'm going to keep fucking doing it.
Did he live?
Oh, yeah, he was fine. Yeah, he was perfectly fine. So he was an old tweaker. The dude that was stabbing him stabbed himself in the hand and actually gave himself an infection. The dude, Frank the Gank, they call him.
Frank the Gangster?
Frank the Gank, because he would steal whatever he wanted from anyone. He would just walk up to people and punk them out for their shit and be like, give me your shoes, motherfucker, and then beat the shit out of them if they didn't. And so he's called Frank the Gank. And like, this dude's like 50 years old and could roundhouse kick. I mean, amazing round. He would show it off because he was like, old tweaker. He's like, watch this, I can roundhouse kick really good. And he could, so he'd show it off. But they stabbed him 17 times over. I was like, what the hell? And his homies, his good friends, or allegedly good homies. Yeah. The stabbings were not that crazy. Not too many people got stabbed when I was there. In federal prison, they get stabbed.
Yeah, but they don't stab them like to kill you. They stab them with like the shanks, like little, and they just want to put some holes in them so that they get taken off the yard.
Well, that's what he got stabbed 17 times, and people were always like, "Oh, did he die?"
Yeah,
like it was a screw.
Yeah,
it's like they poked him 17 times.
Right.
They shit on it to make it like he get an infection, and that was the gross part.
It's just horrible.
But horrible. He had done so many. I swear, I was like, he's not. So the next day he walked out of medical, walked onto the unit the dudes were at, and he wasn't supposed to. Went into the cell of one of the dudes taking a shit and was like, "We got a problem." And the dude had his pants down. Was like, "No, I don't know what happened. I don't know what went on. I don't know what that was about." COC him, cuff him up, and take him out, take him to max. And they were like, "Yeah, that's not going to happen again." That dude could have beat the shit out of all of them.
I think that I've always mentioned this is that if you get stabbed or get into a fight in prison or you get stabbed or something, like you had it coming. Like I've never. I
don't know about a fight, stabbing maybe.
Stabbing. I mean, in federal prison, everybody I knew that ever got really attacked pretty much had it coming.
Yeah.
Well, there's one guy that it was a mistake that I can think of that it was a mistake. There's probably a few mistakes, but because typically what they do is you run up a debt. Like, hey man, you owe me $600. Like, what's going on? You've been gambling with me. You ran up the debt. You kept saying you were going to pay. I kept letting you. Now it's $600. Like you have to send me the money. And they're like, well, fuck you. I don't have it. And they're like, okay, well then you got to check in. Like the guy didn't go try and stab him. You got to check in. I'm not going to check in. You're not going to do anything. Now the guy's got to do something.
Yeah.
Or because he's running a gambling, operation. And now everybody's going to think that they can run up debts. So now I have to do something. He's smart. He doesn't even do it. He has this guy do it. Because now if he goes to leaves, then I'll just pay him and they'll go to different places, but I'm not involved. So
and then when I was selling dope, I did the same thing. So in there, I never had to, if someone owed me money, I would never have to be like, motherfucker, you got to pay me. Because my homies, for one, I was the one supplying the dope. So like no one ever wanted to mess with the dope guy.
Right.
Because in prison, it's pretty hard to smuggle drugs in.
Yeah.
So if you have a steady source of drugs, no one wants to touch you. I mean, no one will try to fight you. No one will try. And if someone owes you money, I've got my homies. I could be like, hey, go collect it for me. Right. And they'll go do it because they know I'm the dope man. So like, I'm going to eventually have drugs again. They're drug addicts. So I'll break them off or help me collect some money. You know what I mean? And so that's why I was able to look at the whole gang thing was stupid. I shouldn't have joined a gang. But I noticed that the drugs if you had drugs, you controlled literally everything in prison.
Yeah.
If you could control the drugs, I mean, no one's going to touch you because they want to get high.
Right.
No race is going to do anything to you. You could literally do whatever you want. And so as soon as I was like, that's what I got to do.
Right.
And
yeah, I was going to say like Pete went with legal work. If you're doing legal work,
nobody
fucks with you. Why? This dude's doing legal work for 3 different people.
Maybe I should have done that.
6 different.
Probably would have been smarter.
Yeah. And you become the go-to man. It's kind of like, my wife always says that it wasn't so much. She's like, I was able to pay my bills and have some money. She's like, but it was more, you become important.
You do.
You know, suddenly you're the person everybody calls.
And once you're that person, then no one will really mess with you because it's like,
no, I'm talking about on the street.
Oh, yeah.
But just in general on the street, suddenly you're important.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
One, you have money so you can get certain things done. But two, people look at you as being someone like it's a look that they never had of you before.
Yeah.
Like you're knowledgeable or something.
Well, and then, so I never experienced the whole prison pocket thing. We were talking about this earlier.
Right.
I, in prison now, a couple of years, been hiding dope in my underwear, my boxers. And my buddy was like, what happens when they pull you out right now to strip search you? Well, I don't know. I'm handing my boxers.
Right.
He's like, well, why don't you just keep in your butt? I was like, what do you mean, Dad? And he's like, yeah, like, because if they pull you out to strip search you right now, it's already there. So, like, you don't have to hide it. And I was like, that's actually freaking brilliant. And so, I mean, you don't know how you know how many times though I would be coming back from rec with drugs hidden.
Right.
And they would, Mr. Gruber, come here, strip search, squat and cough. Take all your clothes off, throw it to him, squat and cough. All right, go back to your cell. And you're like, anyone that says, if you squat and cough, and I mean, if they're like, well, the drugs aren't going to fall out.
No. Right.
So if you squat and cough, are you just going to shit yourself? You're just going to poop by accident because you can't hold anything. I'm like,
it's just stupid.
Yeah,
right?
like you can hold it in there pretty. I mean, I was like, that's just so crazy. They think that's going to be the cause of them finding it. It's just going to shoot out of my, I don't know what they thought. But at one point I had my cellie, my good buddy. He was like, hey man, they're strip searching people. He woke me up. I was taking a nap. He's like, hey, they're in the cell next to us. They're strip searching people. I was like, what do you mean? And he's like, yeah, our cell's next. I was like, why wouldn't you wait? I was like, stand by the window. Big old 6-foot Hawaiian dude goes in the window. 2 minutes later, not even 2 minutes later, I'm like, all right, we're good. He's like, where'd you just put the drugs? I was like, in my butt. He's like, how the fuck did you just do that quick? I was like, buddy, when you gotta hide something, it's gone. Like,
that's the Juan. Do you remember Juan telling that story? There was a guy. He's like, we paid a guy to keep a cell phone for us.
Oh, I don't know about a cell phone. Holy cow. Oh, Lord.
It wasn't a big cell phone.
I don't care.
It wasn't big, but it was
a cell phone.
It was a cell phone, and he's like, you don't understand. He said it wasn't I wasn't amazed by the fact that he had this cell phone he used because it was small. He said,
how quickly
I was amazed how quickly he could get to it, and it was just like Jesus, like that was
insane.
Like literally, he's like a minute late. The guy's go, hold on a second, walk in the other room. And come right back out. No, a guy got it. He's like, Juan's like, is this just fallout? Like, what's going on? Is there no muscle control? Like, what's happening?
So I had a cell phone at one point. Paid a teener of some.
The really impressive part is the guy that keeps the charger. No.
So I had one. Paid a bunch of money for it at one point. My cell didn't get service, so I had to go up to a different cell. Go up to the cell. You can't go in other people's cells.
Yeah.
I go in. I'm laying back on my buddy's bunk, texting someone. And he's like, hey, I'm pretty sure I just heard the unit door. I was like, nah, dude, you're tripping. I had an 8-ball of crystal on me and a cell phone. And I was like, nah, dude, you're tripping. And he's like, no, go look out the door. And I go look. COs are walking up the stairs. And I'm like, oh, shit. So I lay down and act like it's myself, put my headphones on, watch TV. And they walk in, they're like, Mr. Gruber, come here. I was like, why? They're like, we know this isn't your cell. I was like, all right, what's going on? They're like, Corporal White wants to talk to you out in the foyer. Get against the wall. And at this point, I had a pair of whitey tighties on. Mm-hmm. The cell phone was in the pocket of the whitey tighties, but whitey tighties hang way down. And then I had a pair of like loose boxer briefs on, and then my shorts. And I had the teener or the 8-ball in my boxers, the cell phone in my whitey tighties, and just my shorts on. So he's like, get against the wall. I get against the wall and he starts patting me down and he goes up one leg and this cell phone is hanging. Whitey tighties are loose. They're the prison whitey tighties. Those things are blown out. So that phone is hanging like down here, way down. He pats up my leg, hits that phone and he's like, all right, come with me. And I'm like, oh, this is it. This is I'm done. I'm cooked. Pulls me out to the foyer. Mr. Corporal White was like, quit going into other people's cells. Now go back in the unit. Ooh. And I was like, what? He didn't even pat down my other leg. I was like, the only thing he could think of is he hit that phone and thought that my dick was way down there. And was like, I'm done patting down this kid. I'm done. And just let me go. I was like, there's no other reason he should have.
Right.
He shouldn't have been like, what is in your pants? Nothing. And I gave the phone back to the guy I bought it from like 2 days later. And I said, don't even pay me back. I said, I don't want another 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did a lot of stupid stuff.
Hey, you guys, I appreciate you watching. Do me a favor, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell so you get notified of videos just like this. Please consider joining our Patreon. It's $10 a month. It really does help Colby and I make these videos. And yeah, I appreciate it. Share the video to anybody you think might be interested. Thank you very much. See ya.